from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Root Sports brings you Houston Astros baseball. Today, after the All-Star game, the Astros come out and meet the Texas Rangers. And good evening, everybody. It's the first of three. Bill Brown, Alan Ashby, Bart Ennis joins us in a few minutes to see the Astros meet the Rangers. Both teams trying to get geared up after the break. And for the Astros, who lost their last 6 there on that road trip, they'd love to get things turned around starting tonight. Ash?
8 out of 9 to go along with that on the road trip. And so, yes, it was a tough time. The Astros are struggling. But the good news on the flip side, the Texas Rangers are scuffling as well.
Well, the Astros had that marvelous start to the season. They had the walk-off at the end of April by Jose Altuve, and they built a 4-game lead by the end of April, which was to grow to 7 games after that, Ash.
And that's something that first half was really amazing. Jose Altuve here doing what Brownie was talking about, the game winner. This was the 8th of what would be 10 wins in a row for the Astros as they went on that fantastic 10-game winning streak. So it was a ball club that certainly had their highs.
But then the lows came along, and as they will for most teams in a long, long baseball season, there were many frustrating moments. The strikeouts began to mount. There were times when they didn't hit, and that's been the situation in the last few games.
Recently, not scoring runs at all. But the Astros have lived a lot by the running game, so sometimes you die by the running game. Strikeouts continue to be a big, big issue for the Major League's leading strikeout team. And then again, that running game comes into play. Keep in mind, they do lead the league in stolen bases and home runs. But plays like this in Toronto led to another big loss and part of a big losing streak for the ball club.
But nonetheless, they are 1/2 game out of first place going into this period beginning tonight after the All-Star break. Not many people would have predicted that for this team.
Not at all. Coming out of spring training, I think everybody felt this was going to be a step forward year. But guys like Lance McCullers, who is vying to become one of the outstanding pitchers in the game right now, Vince Velasquez, that terrific arm of his, and then there's Carlos Correa, a guy who might be the favorite right now to win the Rookie of the Year award in the American League. Preston Tucker has done a lot, including this pinch hit home run in Detroit to help the Astros win a ball game. So a number of guys, youngsters, coming on to do a lot for the team.
Well, will the rest of the season hold? We'll start to find out tonight. And in just a few minutes, it's going to be Colin McHugh leading the way for the Astros here after the All-Star break. He'll face the Texas Rangers, and we'll have more on that in just a moment. Astros 49-42 as they meet. The Rangers are 4-2 against the Astros this season. Alan Ashby, the last time the Rangers came here to Minute Maid Park, they swept a 3-game series. That got them off on a nice run. But both teams are looking to go on a sustained bit of good wins coming up.
Those Texas Rangers, at that time when they came in, were a team that wasn't playing well. But like you say, that kind of kick-started them. They started playing great baseball, got over 500, were in second place and challenging. They've dropped off, and the Astros have had their struggles, and now you see the Angels on top by half a game. But that's a division that is tightening and could go any direction.
Something to watch here in the second half. And for tonight's pitching matchup, it's Colin McHugh, as we mentioned, for the Astros. Martin Perez, who is returning from Tommy John surgery, gets the baseball for Jeff Bannister's Texas Rangers.
For Colin McHugh, he's lost his last couple of decisions, despite the fact that I'll say in his last start, he was very, very good. As sharp as we've seen him all year, 9-5 on the season, and a 4.50 ERA on the other side. Martin Perez, 15-13 on his career. I believe that number is 4.13 the ERA. And so, yes, it's one of those outings tonight that means a lot, I think, for both ball clubs. For Colin McHugh, get the Astros off on the right foot here in the second half.
Well, they're both certainly ready to hit that reset button with their recent games. And was it your experience as a player that you do that over the All-Star break?
I think you do. I think you do it numerous times over the course of the year. I think you hit rough patches as an individual, as a team, and you say, okay, from tonight's game, this is where I start another stretch where I say this is where I'm going to put these elements together. So I think the Astros probably are trying to do that, as are the Texas Rangers.
Both saying it starts right here, right now. And in just a moment, it will pick up with the battle for the booth. The Rangers lead it so far 4-2. Bart Ennis joins us in just a moment.
to get reignited here. Colin McHugh on the mound. The Rangers have the lead in that battle for the boot 4-2 based mainly on the strength of a 3-game sweep here at Minute Maid Park back in early May. And that's really been the story for the Rangers. They've got the best road record in all of baseball at 26-20. So that's what Colin McHugh is up against tonight as he tries to get the team off to a good start after the All-Star break. Speaking of All-Stars, it's time for us to take a look at this moment in history, brought to you by MD Anderson. And we are talking about the franchise 4 for the Astros as voted on by the fans and announced during the All-Star game. There you know the names, Ryan, Biggio, Bagwell, and Berkman. Let's start with the position players because Biggio is just a few days away from going into the Hall of Fame with his 3,060 hits. Played 3 different positions for the team, and he was an All-Star at 2 of those. His longtime teammate Bagwell should be joining him in Cooperstown very soon. He had 449 homers and over 1,500 RBIs as an Astro. Berkman, the Rice product, was a fan favorite here, 6-time All-Star. He slugged 326 homers. Nolan Ryan, the Hall of Famer, he was the only player that was a member of 3 different franchise 4s for the Angels, Astros, and Rangers. So you know that this game between the Astros and Rangers means a lot to him tonight. Looks like Colin McHugh's about to get ready to go, so let's go back up to the broadcast booth. Bill Brown and Alan Ashby, guys.
Thank you, Bart. There is the Texas Rangers starting lineup, beginning with former Astros farmhand Delino DeShields Jr. He's leading off in left field. It's Rougned Odor at second base. Prince Fielder, the DH. Adrian Beltre at third base. Mitch Moreland at first. Josh Hamilton in right field. Elvis Andrus, the shortstop. Leonis Martin in center field. Robinson Chirinos is the catcher. And for Perez, who's making his Major League debut, he'll be opposed by Colin McHugh. And Colin, at 9-5, a 4.50 ERA, is 2-0 lifetime against Texas with a 2.08 ERA. Ash?
And again, for Colin, the last couple of starts, he took losses. Threw the ball extremely well in that last one, that at Tampa Bay against the Rays, and allowed 3 earnings in that one. Did yield a home run, but took a shutout effort into the 6th inning.
And now it's DeShields stepping up. Speedy outfielder is hitting 267. Marwin Gonzalez is in tight on the grass. There is strike 1 from Colin McHugh in quest of win number 10 of the season. 12 runs batted in and a 360 on base average for DeShields. Taken a Rule 5 draft from the Astros by the Rangers. That's in for a strike. And it's 0-2. The crew chief Jerry Davis is the home plate umpire tonight. First of a 3-game series. Tomorrow night a 6:10 start. Sunday a 1:10 beginning. Monday's a day off. Then the Red Sox are in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Just off the plate, and it's 1-2. Batting average against Colin McHugh is 264. And his curveball has become a more and more effective pitch this year. Hitters are chasing it out of the zone. He gets him on strikes.
There's that curveball you were talking about, Brownie. Very effective in the strikeouts defensively for the Astros tonight. Behind Mr. Colin McHugh. In the outfield, L.J. Hosen left. Jake Marisnick in center and Colby Rasmus in right field. On the infield, the left side has Marwin Gonzalez. And Carlos Correa on the right. It's Jose Altuve and Chris Carter. And behind the plate, Jason Castro.
Now the young second baseman from Venezuela, Rougned Odor. And he is a bunter. Chris Carter's in tight at first. He hits a line drive over Correa's head into left center field. Jake Marisnick backhands. He's got to play at second. Here's the throw on one hop. Altuve with a tag. Out at second base.
Jake Marisnick can really throw. And with this particular effort moving into left center field, he planted and put the one-hop throw right there at the bag for Altuve to apply the tag. Moving to his right, Marisnick was moving to his throwing arm side. And so that probably aided him a bit. But you can see that throw to Altuve was there in plenty of time. And I think more and more teams are going to learn that Jake Marisnick is a guy you don't want to mess with.
Fine throw by Marisnick. Now the infield is shifted. Playing Prince Fielder to pull. Fielder leads the American League in hits with 114. He's second in the batting race. And there is ball 1. Fielder is having a marvelous year with that 339 average. It includes 14 homers, 54 runs batted in. Like a changeup, but it's tap foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Colin McHugh is a resourceful type of pitcher. It's always interesting to see how he's going to approach a game or a hitter. Ash?
Last time out, got the fastball up to about 92 a time or two over the course of the game, but 91 was kind of where he settled in. When he gets that little extra bit of velocity, it sets up his changeup and the breaking balls.
Fielder puts one in the air toward the left field line, and that's going to be banging off that railing and foul ground. He's on with an opposite field single. Sharply hit ball by Fielder. And that's 2 hits in a row now for the Rangers.
These two teams just meeting for the 7th time on the season, and yet Prince Fielder is making a routine out of hitting this ball to the left side. And he hits it sharply. It's not like he's giving in hitting it that way, just hitting it sharply.
Good point. He rammed that low liner by Marwin Gonzalez. Now he's aboard for Adrian Beltre. Still trying to find his stride. He's been playing with a painful injured left thumb. He did not take a minor league rehab assignment for the thumb. Rushed his way back. He's a very important man for them. And there's ball 1. Beltre at 255 has 7 homers, 22 runs batted in. Far from his normal production.
Sometimes the first inning, Brownie, is exploratory surgery for the pitchers, as Colin tried to put the scalpel right there at the outside edge, didn't get the call.
Yeah. 1 ball, 1 strike on a big cut by Beltre. Beltre's hit .310 against Houston pitching this year. .294 for his career against the Astros. A vital part of the Texas attack, who has just not been able to get it rolling, although he has against the Astros. He's hit in all 6 games against Houston so far this year. Adrian's 36 years old, from the Dominican Republic. The Rangers have already picked up his option for next season. And that one goes foul, bouncing it wide of third base. It's a 1-2 count to Beltre.
That was a fastball that was not where Colin McHugh or Jason Castro wanted it. And I would say that for the moment anyway is the difference in Adrian Beltre now and what he can be. And it's not to say that he can't get back to that hitter, but the Rangers, like the Astros, have been scuffling, not coming up with the big swings.
In the air, and he went for the high and away pitch. Hits it to the right field corner, but out of play for Colby Rasmus. And Beltre will be, from time to time, one of those good bad ball hitters. He can take a pitch out of the zone and drive it.
Better that than to be a bad good ball hitter.
For certain.
Yeah, see that high fastball that Beltre tries to get to. Got a good part of the bat on it.
Beltre's at 402 career homers, 53rd on the all-time list, 3 behind the injured Miguel Cabrera. Liner into left field. L.J. Ho's over to play it, and that's 3 hits in a row for the Rangers, making Marisnick's play very big in this inning.
Well, I don't know if this is a matter of the Rangers waking up the bats or Colin is scuffling a little bit. That was not a great location either. Up and in, and again, when Beltre's swinging it very well, you'd be lucky to get this baseball back.
3 singles on the board for the Rangers, who are 10th in runs scored in the American League. Mitch Moreland has really delivered for their club, to the tune of a .532 slugging percentage, tied for 5th in the American League, with those numbers indicating his power. 14 doubles to go with the 16 homers for Moreland. And ball 1. Moreland is 29 years old. He's from Amory, Mississippi, and went to Mississippi State. He missed some time earlier this season with surgery on his left elbow for a bone chip. He is a very good defensive player at first base. That has moved Fielder to DH, with Moreland playing the first base position. 2 balls, no strikes, with Josh Hamilton on deck.
Hey, all right, Max. Come on, Max.
Moreland's been slumping lately. His last 10 games, he's hit just .179. But prior to that, he had put on a nice power surge. Knocked into right field, charged by Rasmus. Stop sign at third. And that's the fourth single of the inning. Base is loaded now for Josh Hamilton with 2 outs.
Good news, bad news. Bad news for the Texas Rangers. 4 for 5 in the inning. Good news for the Astros, not a run on the board, and that's how much one defensive play can mean.
That pitch right out there in the hitting zone, and Moreland hit it squarely. Josh Hamilton comes up for the first time against the Houston Astros this season. He is 1 for 6 lifetime against Colin McHugh. 240 for Josh, 2 homers, 6 runs batted in. He's had 50 major league at bats this year. And there's strike one as Colin varies his speeds. Hamilton joined the Rangers, as you know, after being released by the Angels. He won a game with a walk-off hit May 31st and then went on the DL with a left hamstring strain. Curve in the dirt makes it a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
Had a couple of home runs in one game 2 days prior to that night you're talking about. Nice job here by Jason Castro. He just continues to do a fine job defensively. So yeah, with Josh Hamilton, I imagine the Rangers are thinking, when he's healthy, when he's able to be in there, guy that we love to have around, but not staying healthy these days.
That was actually a trade. He was acquired from the Angels April 27th. Bounces one, and it goes to Chris Carter, who tosses to McHugh. No runs, 4 hits, and 3 men left in a very unusual top of the first. As the fans walk the concourse, the Astros are settling into bat against the lefty Martin Perez in the bottom of the first inning. The Astros starting lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Jose Altuve, an all-star again this year, leads it off at second base. Marwin Gonzalez follows at third. It's Carlos Correa at shortstop. The DH Evan Gattis is the cleanup man. In right field, Colby Rasmus is followed by first baseman Chris Carter, left fielder L.J. Hose, catcher Jason Castro, and center fielder Jake Marisnick.
On the mound for the Texas Rangers, 24-year-old left-hander Martin Perez, making his first outing of the season for Texas, coming off Tommy John surgery, which he had early on last year, came to the major leagues in 2012, and lifetime in the big leagues, all with the Texas Rangers, 15 and 13.
And those 3 career starts against the Astros, very good. 3-0 with a 1.50 ERA. Last year he won his only start at Texas against Houston. With 8 innings of 5-hit shutout ball, he won that one 1-0. And so all 3 of his career starts have been outstanding against the Astros. Here's Jose Altuve. He's 8th in hits in the American League with 98. And ball 1 for the starting all-star second baseman in the American League. 293, 8 homers, 38 runs batted in.
With Perez on the hill, the one other note to add is he has a very good changeup and relies on it a good deal.
Altuve's taking, and it's 2-0. Altuve's walk rate has dropped since the first month of the season. Very aggressive hitter. He's walked 20 times this year. He looks at that one, and it's 3-0 for Perez. And logical to take some pitches here because Perez has not pitched in a major league game since May 10th of last year. He's had 6 rehab starts in the minor leagues this year. That's a 4-pitch walk. Altuve's aboard for Gonzalez. Perez with that 15 and 13 career record of 4.13 ERA has had some very fine moments in his brief major league career, and he's just 24. He's from Venezuela. One Venezuelan just walked another, and now yet another. Marwin Gonzalez comes up. 253, 6 homers, 20 runs batted in. Playing third base tonight. Being a switch hitter gives him that advantage against the lefty Perez, with lefty hitting Luis Valbuena on the bench. Strike one. Marwin has filled in capably again this season. Carlos Correa will bat behind him.
Kind of been that super sub. Plays well defensively wherever you put him. 6 home runs to kind of highlight that .253 batting average.
That ties his career high set last year. Showing body takes the ball. 1-1. Sometimes a player as versatile as Marwin Gonzalez can get sort of trapped, you might say, in that role.
It's a label that's nice if it keeps you in the big leagues and you're marginal, but sometimes it keeps you on the bench as that utility player when you're playing very well, and I think a lot of the time that's been the case for Marwin.
Altuve does not have a big lead. Showing bunt again. Marwin takes and it's a strike for a 1-2 count. But Jose often steals without getting a big lead.
I don't think Marwin was a fan of this call. I think we can all join that fan club.
And now he's behind 1-2. Andrus and Odor are the double play combo. And the throw goes over. The Astros lead the American League in steals with 69. Altuve has 25 of those 69, and he's the top base stealer in the American League. The catcher Chirinos is thrown at 8 of 30. It has been a sizzling day outside. More of same expected the next few days. Little chop goes foul. Still 1-2. Now these two teams could probably relate to what each is going through right now. The Astros coming off that 2-8 road trip with a 6-game losing streak right now, and the Rangers coming off a 1-7 homestand. They're quite different though in their records within the division. The Astros are 22-16 against the teams in the American League West. The Rangers are 11-23. 3 of those 11 came in their sweep here. That's a ball, and it's 2-2.
Rangers are really bizarre. You alluded to the fact they have not played well recently at home. They have the worst record in the American League at home, 16-26, and yet they're the best record-holding team on the road this year.
It's strange. Ground ball and a double play is what the Rangers want. Odor fires it to complete the double play. 6-4-3. That's their 87th double play of the year.
Let's take a look at our Super Mo presented by Mattress Firm. You get a look at that replay in super slow-mo. Kind of tailor-made right there.
On this very hot day, Carlos Correa was serving lunch to the homeless earlier. And now as he bats for the first time, he's hitting .276 with 7 homers, 19 runs batted in. Ball 1 to the talented rookie. Is 20 years old, and he will work with the Salvation Army in Houston with some of his charity pursuits. Broken bat roller. There's Moreland spinning and tossing to Perez. Out on a close call at first. And it's no runs, no hits, nobody left. 0-0 after 1. Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by HEB. No store does more than my HEB. Rangers nothing, Astros nothing in a very different first inning. The Rangers got 4 consecutive singles in their half of the first. The Astros mounted only 3 base runners because of the double play ball hit into by Gonzalez in their first inning. McHugh comes out for the second and faces Elvis Andrus. Andrus not having a very good year at all with the bat. Steps in at .242 with 3 homers, 29 runs batted in. Corner infielders in tight. Andrus who does bunt from time to time, takes strike one.
Houston Astros apparently do not believe that Elvis Andrus is going to drive the ball effectively to right field.
Boy, look at that outfield alignment. Colby Rasmus extremely shallow and over toward the right field line.
See, even Jake Marisnik in center shaded toward right and shallowed up, but that's a very short right field here.
That's punched on the ground. Altuve tracks it down to his left. Whoa, bad throw, safe at first.
You're watching Altuve on the play. I thought he took his time nicely and it still got away. Rather routine for Jose, though it took him to the outfield grass. Just looked like the ball got away as he held it in his hand.
Now let's see at first base on Chris Carter if something's bothering him. James ready out to check with Carter. Maybe when he stretched for that throw, he landed. That's a right. Yeah, he turned over that right ankle a little bit. It's ruled a single, by the way.
What? You know, it actually was setting up to be close at first base.
So that's a hit for Andrus and hit number 5 already for the Rangers. A.J. Hinch out and Chris Carter's going to limp off the field here. Lefty hitting John Singleton is among those on the bench. And in fact, Hank Conger is the only guy on the bench who bats right. He's a switch hitter.
Now, there's no doubt what is bothering Chris at this point. Chris is not a real demonstrative guy. And watching him go off the field, I would assume he was trying to say, hey, look, I think this will loosen up on me and everything will be all right. But, you know, it's a tough decision right now who you run out as your first baseman on this club.
Singleton gets the call. He's the replacement for Carter at first base.
That's a base hit, huh?
That was ruled a single by Elvis Andrus. And Leonis Martin will be coming up next. Colin McHugh, with the delay, is throwing a few warm-ups. Singleton ready to go now, and it's Martin. Leonis with a .222 average has 5 homers, 24 runs batted in.
I don't know how long it takes to get the body loose, but the circulatory system gets loose very quickly when you get that call here just the second inning.
Yeah. A little rapid heartbeat when not expecting to be inserted this early in the game. Marwin's in tight at third. Martin often bunts, and it's ball 1 to him. Even though Martin has not posted good numbers offensively with an OPS of only about 600, he has defensive value. Fouls it back, and it's a 1-ball-1-strike count. Well, both these pitchers have done nothing but pitch well against the opponents they're facing tonight. McHugh 2-0 with a 2.08 ERA in his 2 career starts against the Rangers. He beat them April 10th at Texas 5-1. 6 innings of 5-hit 1-run baseball. Rolled out to shortstop. Correa hurries it to Altuve, who guns it to Singleton. Double play. That had to be quick because the ball was hit so softly.
That ball didn't stay in the hands of either Correa or Altuve very long. And I have to say, there have been some impressive turns by Altuve this year. This one is certainly among them. Watch how he takes the glove from that point and takes the ball out right-handed from that point exactly and makes his throw.
That was really quick. Now 2 outs. Altuve only had that ball for a fraction of a second from Correa, and it's Robinson Chirinos with strike 1 on the slider. 213 for Chirinos, 8 homers, 27 runs batted in. Or was it the cutter, because he throws both, Ash?
Yeah, it's beyond definition sometimes. And a lot of guys have cutters that look like sliders and sliders that look like cutters, and all in the terminology. I used to love Andy Pettit, who would take umbrage with somebody saying he had a slider. He threw this big old thing that he called a cutter, and so therefore it was a cutter.
Well, it had a lot of tilt.
It did. For me, a cutter is that little thing that you measure in 2-3 inches that just kind of slides off to the side.
And it's an easier pitch to throw, correct? It comes out of the fastball type delivery with just a little off-center grip. Is that the way
off center is the key on that. And yes, you throw basically a fastball that's off-centered.
So the reason for throwing it would be, in particular, maybe against a right-handed pitcher against a left-handed batter, try to start that ball over the plate, and it looks good to him, and then it breaks in on his hands.
Well, I think in the case of Mariano Rivera, the reason for throwing it was to make everybody look bad as a hitter.
Correa zips it over to Singleton. No runs a hit, nobody left, no score.
Park. And as a thank you to the fans for your support during All-Star voting, the Astros are offering a special H-Town Proud All-Star deal. Check this out. All View Deck 1 and 2 and Outfield Deck 1 and 2 tickets will be available for just $10 for all remaining Tuesday to Thursday home games during the month of July. For more information, call 1-877-9-ASTROS or go to astros.com/H-Town-Proud to take advantage of that sweet deal, Brownie.
That is an excellent deal. Didn't know about that. Thank you, Bart. No score. Evan Gattis leads it off, bottom of the second inning. Gattis stepping up with 15 homers, 54 runs batted in, and a .241 average. That's a breaker in for strike one. Gattis has not hit that well against lefties. .221 batting average with a .637 OPS.
So yeah, go ahead and explain that one to me.
Can't. Some things defy explanation.
Kind of the definition of baseball. You could throw that right in there.
Perez with an off-speed pitch. It's hammered deep to center. Martin on the run. Martin way back, and that bounces and stays in play. Gattis is going to get another triple. Here's the relay to third. Nope. Yeah, he does. The throw hit him. Andrews had him, but the throw was not accurate, and Gattis gets his fifth triple.
I think the relay to third base was a caboose seeker, and it found its mark. Look at this big fellow with the triples this year. It's a great ballpark for the triples.
Nice effort by Martin. He got his glove on it, Ash.
I was afraid he was going to haul that thing in with that effort. Yeah, there it is. Might not have been exactly the caboose, but close enough.
Good result for Gattis. Triple number 5. The infield lays back. Colby Rasmus the batter, lefty on lefty. Rasmus has 11 homers this season, 29 runs batted in. He's hitting .237. And there's strike one on the slider.
Okay, think of all your Astros hitters and then think triples. Now, probably not going to name Evan Gattis first, but he has 5. The next closest on the team, the only other guy with more than 1, Jake Marisnick, has 2. Pretty amazing.
Rasmus works the count, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Colby's hit .333 against the Rangers so far this year. He hit .172 on the road trip, and the Astros simply did not hit on that trip. During their 6-game losing streak, they've scored a total of 7 runs. That crowds him, and it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count with another left-handed hitter, Singleton, on deck. The Astros 49-42 coming out of the All-Star break, trailing the Angels, who are 48-40 by a half game. The Astros have played 91 games. No major league team has played more than that. That means, as the count goes to 3-1, they'll have a few more off days than many of the other clubs in the majors from now on out. last time the Astros had a record of 6 games over 500 at the All-Star break. They were 50-44 in 2003. Rasmus looks at it. It's strike 2, and now a full count to Colby.
Well, that well-spotted heater was at 95.
It's well above what Perez averaged last year on his fastball, but last year he pitched 8 games and then underwent Tommy John surgery, so he may have been pitching in pain quite a bit of that time. And he comes back to get a strikeout on Rasmus.
Look at our strike zone presented by MD Anderson. And that last fastball clearly within the strike zone. It was the number 5 pitch there that was certainly borderline and maybe outside of the zone.
We just had an announcement as the infield comes in now on John Singleton that the man he replaced, Chris Carter, left the game with a right ankle sprain. So infield in tight, and Singleton, who's had 25 major league at bats, is hitting 120. No homers, 3 runs batted in. That's in tight, ball 1. The first base position has come under a lot of scrutiny from Astros fans and media. Astros ranking near the bottom in first base production this season. In the dirt, and it's 2-0. And A.J. Hinch was asked about that before the game. He did say that we need to get more offense from the first base position, need more production. But he said it's going to get more complicated when we start getting injured players back. Jed Lowry certainly is the focal point of that part of it. Jed is now doing some hitting. Not ready to play yet in the minors. Foul back. 2 balls and a strike. That's not to say Jed would take over at first base, but he is an infielder. And so it seems that there's a rather limited time horizon to get the first base equation solved. Singleton has not had much playing time there, and he may be getting more in the future.
Well, I think it makes sense that you talk about Jed Lowry, whether he goes to first, goes to third, whatever the situation may be. He was a good offensive player before going down.
Gaddis back. He sure was. Lowry had a terrific month of April. 3 balls and a strike.
Preset play. Catchers and third baseman will have some sort of body touch, something that says, okay, I'm coming down to you here, so that you're ensured that the third baseman is going to cover the bag.
L.J. Hose is on deck. And foul by Singleton. 3 balls, 2 strikes. John had much more of an extended opportunity, as you know, in the major leagues last season. And he hit 13 home runs. In the batting average department, he really did not measure up. He hit 168. He had 310 at bats last year. Drove in 44 with 13 homers.
And then there's the question, does it even get tougher against left-hand pitching if you're going to run that guy out there every night as your first baseman?
Singleton takes a walk. That's number 2 of the night for Perez. Ironically, Chris Carter had very good numbers against Martin Perez. 6 for 13, 2 homers, 4 runs batted in, and now he's lost for the night. Runners at first and third, 1 out for L.J. Hose.
Houston Methodist helps us get to know Mr. L.J. Hose. Favorite player growing up, Ken Griffey Jr. I think he's the winner, the leader in the clubhouse this year. Favorite movie, Batman. And go-to karaoke song, Nice and Slow by Usher. See if we can get him to break that out for us someday.
Or maybe a nice and slow home run trot.
That'd be good.
That'd be good. Though that wouldn't be his nature, would it?
Have the ball leave the yard nice and quickly. And
he is 2 for 5 in his Astros at bats this season. Just joined the club, went 2 for 4 Sunday. in Tampa Bay. There's strike one, and LJ was hitting .327 at AAA Fresno this year. Had 21 doubles, 3 homers, 47 runs batted in.
Not sure if I'm a fan of seeing LJ turn to bluff a bunt there with a man in scoring position at third base and a first pitch.
Line shot will work. That's an RBI single to right field, 1-0. As Hose takes it hard to right field for his first RBI with the Astros this year, driving in Gaddis.
Like I was saying, that couldn't have been a better at bat for LJ Hose.
Well, if you're going to hit the ball like that, you can do anything you want.
Yeah, you know, and some guys really do get better as they go deeper into a count. But you're trying to get that first run of the night, trying to make something happen after a struggling stretch.
That's a very big at bat too, though, as you know, with the double play in order there that would have ended the inning for Perez. And now he'll face Castro with runners at first and second, 1 out. 212 for Jason, 7 homers, 19 runs batted in. Jake Marisnick's on deck. There's strike one. You can just imagine, too, and you've worked with so many pitchers, Ash, down through the years. Here is Martin Perez, who's not pitched in a major league game since May 10th. More than a year ago. There might be some extra emotions going for him tonight.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question there. I think the motivation is probably equal on both sides. I think the Astros believe they're a team that not only can but should win the division, the West Division in the American League this year. I think the Texas Rangers got close enough that they sniffed it and believe that they have a shot at taking a run for it. And so you've got 2 teams interstate here that would really love to get off to a fast start in the second half.
There's Odor flipping, and Elvis Andrus makes it a 4-6-3 double play. 2 of those in 2 innings for the Rangers. The Astros come up with a run on 2 hits and leave a man. They're up 1-0. We used to play What's in Ash's Pocket years ago. Now we're playing Name That Astro, brought to you by your local Honda dealer. Who am I? I'm a native of Bethpage, New York, a 1979 All-Star pitcher who went 40 2/3 consecutive innings without an earned run allowed and helped the Red Sox to the 1986 World Series after leaving Houston. Tweet at AlcatAsh or at BrownieTW. And we'll see what we get from you.
Your account is just going to start blowing up, Brownie.
It's about time. It's been dormant for years, Ash.
I'm with you, pal.
We go to the 3rd inning, and it's Delino DeShields. He struck out to open the game. Showing bunt, and there's strike one for Colin McHugh. Well, the big 2 of Keuchel and McHugh have combined for 20 wins. And 9 losses so far this season.
Anybody with me to go ahead and throw Lance McCullers in that big 2 or 3 or whatever you want to call it?
He can join on in anytime, and he is, isn't he?
Boy, took a loss his last start just before the All-Star break, but very, very good. Dominant at times.
10 strikeout game in his hometown. Poked up the right field line, but foul for Colby Rasmus. 0-2, and the rotation will be changing tomorrow night. Scott Feldman rejoins the club. He'll be pitching tomorrow night at 6:10 against Colby Lewis. So Scott, who was of course in that original 5-man opening day starting rotation, back from knee surgery, and that could give the Astros a nice boost. Upstairs, and it's 1-2. Vincent Velasquez, he's in the minor leagues right now, but after the off day Monday, when the Astros get back to their 5-man rotation without off days, it's expected that he could get a call back. Curveball makes it 2-2, and that's more about managing innings than anything, right, Ash?
I think it's 100% about that. Yeah, the stuff of Vincent Velasquez is major league, and he's already shown that when he's putting it together at all. He can pitch extremely effectively here.
In the air and foul, but out of play. 2-2. And of course, what's heating up is all the rumors about trades, because the trade deadline is in about 2 weeks, July 31st. The Astros are central in many of those rumors right now.
Yeah, they're one of the teams that has a chance to not only compete but win it this year.
Curveball is tap foul, and it remains a 2-ball, 2-strike count. You probably peruse a few of the trade rumors from time to time, correct?
Yeah.
But you do not pay much attention to Las Vegas odds, do you?
I saw that Las Vegas is in a tizzy. They're in upheaval because of the Astros, and who was the other club?
Kansas City.
Kansas City, that's right.
You did read that story.
Yes.
Off the end of the bat, it's fouled away. Well, according to that story we both read today, the Las Vegas odds makers are a little bit concerned because so much money has come in on Kansas City and Houston from earlier this season. The Astros opened with 100-to-1 odds against them being in the World Series. Now it's 8-to-1.
Uh-oh.
Line into left field. And DeShields will hustle around first base. And that is hit number 6 already for the Rangers. They've all been singles.
That was one outstanding at bat.
He's a threat to run with 14 steals and 16 tries.
Comes down to a base hit, obviously, on the breaking ball, but battling, staying alive on close pitches, and eventually getting to that one.
DeShields is aboard. He might try to wreak some havoc here on the bases with Rougned Odor, the batter. Odor singled over shortstop. He was thrown out trying to stretch that into a double. DeShields not going, and it's foul for strike 1. He was poised, though. His body turned partially towards second base.
Yeah, I think he's one of those guys that thinks run first. And I don't even know what shuts a guy like that down. What he sees in a pitcher's delivery, what he knows about the catcher and how he throws.
McHugh can combat the running game with what he's doing now, varying his times in the stretch. And the Astros well aware of Mr. DeShields' exploits on the bases, because in 2012 he stole 101 bases in the minor leagues for them. In tight, and it's 1-1.
It's an aggressive stance he has as a base runner. He
is
truly set up for the running game.
It appears that he is a little bit vulnerable to a pickoff throw with his body turned.
Yeah, it would seem that way. A nice quick throw.
How's he going to get back to first with that crossover step? He's got a little bit of an angle going, but it works for him. That toss goes over.
Yeah, you see it right there. And it's not like going back to the back. He got the complete crossover. The right foot kind of comes back toward the left. Well, he actually moves the left one first. That's not a bad move.
If you try that at home, don't do so with your spikes on.
Not on the hardwood floor, please.
Bounce to first, but foul. And it's 1-2. Ever spike yourself?
You know what? I was all twittered up right here.
Oh, okay. You're getting
did
responses?
I ever spike myself?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was that clumsy.
Okay.
Right on the inside of the ankle bones.
You weren't the first.
I'm sure you've done that somewhere along the line.
Time to retire from baseball when you pull that 4 times in one day. You're not meant to play that sport. He's going. It's hit in the air, and Colby Rasmus is back. And they deked him apparently at second. DeShields can't pick up the baseball. Here's the throw back to first. That's a double play. Somebody deked him at second base, and he went in head first. Or he made an assumption. Whatever. It's a 9-3 double play.
Carlos Correa, you got some splaining to do. Yeah, that's going hard time, but that's also the time where you pick up one of your coaches. And I can only assume right there that Carlos Correa did something mischievous.
He was at the bag, but we didn't see what he did.
Nice job, young man.
That's 2 double plays in 2 innings for the Astros. The Rangers also had 2 double plays. And the infield shifts around for Prince Fielder. Fielder takes ball 1. Fielder singled to left in the first inning. Fielder is hitting .413 with runners in scoring position to lead the American League. So Colin McHugh now does not have the base runner to Shields on. And faces Fielder, who fouls it back with a 1-1 count. Let's see what happened at second base.
And Correa just basically says, stay there, you're fine.
Yeah. He was not decoying him as if the ball had been hit on the ground. That one's all on to Shields. Off the fist, it loops up the right field line. That's in for a hit. Rasmus backhands, and Colby's had an active night already in right field.
So let's see, where do you play Prince Fielder defensively? He's hit one just inside the bag at third down the left field line. Now fists this one to right field, comfortably inside the right field line. Apparently he does not like to use from gap to gap.
Well, to answer your question, you petition Major League Baseball for 14 fielders.
Colin's feeling right now like everything hit is going to be a hit.
That's 7 hits for the Rangers. And it's Beltre who lined a single to left field in the first inning. This is a crazy game for them offensively. That's a shot to center field. Marisnik cruising over for out number 3, and the Rangers continue to hit the ball on the button, but they trail 1-0 in the third.
Quote of the day is this from A.J. Hinch after yesterday's practice. I think everybody needed a few days off. Everybody looked refreshed. Everybody's talking about what they did over their break, and hopefully everybody's talking about the way they are going to put it together as a team here in the second half.
AJ was asked in his media session today what the team would need to turn it around with the 6-game losing streak. He said there's nothing to turn around. Well, we've had an all-star break. We've pushed that behind us, and we're moving into tonight's game. Brent Strom talking with Colin McHugh, and it's Jake Marisnik leading it off.
He is a smooth operator, I will say that.
1-0 Houston as Marisnik bats with a .239 average. And there's strike 1.
I don't think I've seen a manager have any better handle on a team, all the players, than what AJ's done this year.
Yeah. He's getting a lot of nominations for Manager of the Year. You know, they have these awards they hand out at the halfway point or just past it for the All-Star game. So he was Manager of the Year in some of those fictitious awards, but nonetheless has gained a lot of respect. 2-1
and gaining daily. I think the guys would tell you they love playing for him, and I understand sometimes that can take on a different meaning, but in this case I think the guys would do anything for AJ.
There's a liner left field, and that will be a fair ball and into the corner. Marisnik's going to try for a double. Here's the throw off line from DeShields, and Marisnik has double number 9 of the year. That's the third hit by an Astro, and it's leading off here in the third.
Big fella can really pick up some ground with each stride. Now this ball was gotten to quickly down that left field side. And by the way, really nice to see Jake get off to a nice start with the bat. But he had that go button pushed all the way down.
He did, very aggressive. And the number 9 hitter is on for Jose Altuve. And of course, as the All-Star representative, just a special thrill for him to be the starter at that position. And Bart Ennis has more on the All-Stars.
Yeah, guys, you were talking about A.J. Hinch talking about his all-star experience, and he and Dallas Keuchel both before the game today were talking about how great it was to get to just hang out with and spend some time with some of these American League all-stars that they compete against, and just getting to know them and the camaraderie that was built so quickly in that American League clubhouse. And they also had a blast meeting, of course, some of the all-time greats, Pete Rose, Johnny Bench, Willie Mays. Dallas Keuchel said he couldn't believe he found himself standing next to Willie Mays. It was just a big thrill for those guys, that all-star experience.
Hank Aaron, Sandy Koufax. It was a great show in Cincinnati. Ball one to Altuve, who walked on 4 pitches earlier. He has taken 6 pitches. They've all been balls. Can you ever remember this kind of a game for Altuve? The first 6 pitches he sees in a game are balls, and he takes all of them.
He is going to be furious.
He's hit .321 with men in scoring position. Hits that one deep to right field. Hamilton back over Hamilton's head. It kicks up high off the wall. And here is Marisnick coming home. 2-0 Houston. RBI double Altuve. 17th double of the year for Jose, who drives in his 39th.
Make no mistake right here. Jose Altuve was trying to shoot to right field to do the right thing for the team. But he didn't just give himself up. He drove the baseball that way. And when it all came out in the wash, Josh Hamilton had no chance on this play.
He really attacked that ball hard to right field. Marisnick hustles around after hustling out his double. Back-to-back 2-base hits. And it's Marwin Gonzalez. Marwin tapped into a 6-4-3 double play in the first inning. Bunting and fouling it. There's strike one. We pass along our best to Perry Furman, who was to have been our producer for this series. He said a little bump in the road. And Perry, we hope to see you back again soon. Scott Solke in the producer's chair, and we're happy to have him with us this weekend. Altuve takes his lead. Gonzalez's main mission to get him to third base. And up the middle, that'll get him there. Altuve's being sent. Here's the throw from Martin, and it is there waiting for him to be tagged out. And Gonzalez gets into second base. That is the 11th outfield assist for Leonis Martin this season.
Number one, really nice job by Marwin, and he also, like Altuve, was trying to fight this baseball and push it behind the runner. Did so beautifully. But because it wasn't hit all that sharply, it left Martin in center field with a chance to come on hard, shorten the distance, and show off a very good arm.
Altuve looked surprised by the send from Gary Pettis. Out number one, 3 straight hits. Carlos Correa is the batter.
Well, I think it's fair to say you don't want to have your first out of the inning on an out at the plate like that.
Correa grounded out, and there's strike one. Pettis is, I don't know if I've seen a more aggressive third base coach than Gary Pettis.
You know what? And he's won the gamble most of the times.
Yeah. And I think because of his aggressiveness, the base runners know they need to truck it hard between second and third, because the assumption is they're going to be sent home.
That guy can fly, and you know Altuve was doing all he could. With that little soft liner, though, there's a moment's hesitation as a base runner.
True, good point. I just thought that right before third, he seemed to be kind of waiting a little bit. He might have made the assumption that he wasn't going to be sent home.
And I would say that assumption would be based on the fact that Altuve knows better than anybody in the ballpark. There was a hesitation on that liner.
Yeah, you bring up an appropriate point. If you're in Altuve's shoes at second base, you have to hesitate to make sure the ball gets through. You're then thinking, no, he can't send me home now because of my hesitation.
Exactly. Now, golden rules, base runner, don't get doubled up on the line drive. And so there's that hesitation, and then, well, he's not going to send me now, and then you go.
Pitches a ball to Correa, and it's 1-2. Kansas City won over the White Sox today, 4-2. Chris Young, the winner. He won his 8th, beating Jeff Samardzija. His name is out there in trade rumors. Greg Holland got his 20th save. Pickoff play at second, and Marwin is back. And the Royals are out there now with the best record in the American League, coming out of the All-Star break with a lot of respect.
Yeah, they're a solid ball club, and one of the things the Astros can take from the very fine first half is that when KC came to town, the Astros had their number. 3-game sweep.
Astros will be headed for Kansas City later this month. In fact, next weekend. Correa with a grounder that will shoot by diving Andrews. Marwin Gonzalez coming to the plate. 3-0 Houston. 4th hit in a row. Correa gets number 4. That's his 20th run batted in, and Marwin scores run number 3.
A bit of a shift on with the shortstop swung toward third base. Left a large gap there for Carlos Correa. He takes advantage. And the Astros just keep piling on here in the inning.
Marwin scoring, and now there's a meeting at the mound. Pitching coach Mike Maddox, the former Astro, talking with Martin Perez. Bullpen is busy for the Rangers. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time. It's later in tonight's game, and it's brought to you by Miller Lite. With Perez returning and joining the rotation tonight, it puts a different light on things. Derek Holland is still on the disabled list. Ash, he's had an arm injury. Wandy Rodriguez was to have started one of the 3 games in the next series for the Rangers. That's at Colorado, but we understand that is now to be announced rather than Wandy. And lefty Matt Harrison has just rejoined their rotation as well from an injury. They seem to be able to go in some different directions because Nick Martinez is at AAA, and he could be coming back soon.
It's that tune that almost all clubs are singing about this time of year.
Well, and you kind of wonder as Gaddis fouls it back. Gaddis with a triple and a run scored in the 2nd inning. If you're following the trade front really closely, is this an opportunity on the Rangers' part to market some of these starting pitchers, maybe a Wandy Rodriguez, to another club and try to get a young player in return?
Depends where the Rangers think they are.
Line shot to left field. That's ripped by Gaddis. Gaddis is 2 for 2. That's 5 straight hits by the Astros here in the 3rd.
Where it would appear that Evan Gaddis is locked in. Trying to come in on the hands. That quick bat said no way. Well, this is it's an intriguing night with all the hitting going on, and just a 3-0 game at this point. But I imagine both sides, the hitting coaches are starting to feel a little warm and fuzzy.
Well, you know, Mr. Dave Hudgens and Alan Zitter are feeling pretty good right now. Colby Rasmus struck out earlier. Foul for strike 1. Both teams worked out yesterday before reopening the campaign tonight.
Of course, you know, when you have one of these breakout nights with the bats, the question goes around, who threw BP today? Now you're locked in for a while. You got to keep throwing.
Yeah. Well, right-hander Anthony Bass, the long man in the Rangers bullpen, is warming up right now. Former Astro. Bass getting loose. Singleton on deck. And that's a take by Rasmus, a 1-1 count. Mike Moustakas hit his 8th home run today for the Royals. And Alex Rios hit number 2. And the White Sox now dropping further back, maybe in the selling mode soon. They're 41-46 right now. Line shot on one hop. There's Andrews taking it to the bag and firing over to first for a double play. The Astros picking up 2 runs on 5 consecutive hits. They leave a man. Correa, a big part of it with an RBI single. Altuve had smacked one deep, and they lead it 3-0.
We move to the fourth here at Minute Maid. Hey, join the Astros here tomorrow, July 18th, for 80s night. The team will be wearing throwback uniforms, and 10,000 fans will receive a Nolan Ryan replica rainbow jersey presented by Nolan Ryan Beef. For more information, go to Astros.com or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Ash, it sure was fun to listen to you and Noli talk to Lance McCullers on the field before the game tonight, talking about the grip on the changeup and how he uses that pitch. Fascinating stuff.
Yeah, thanks, Martin. And, you know, what was kind of interesting, maybe hidden there, is Lance McCullers is well ahead of where Nolan Ryan was at that stage of Nolan's great career. So, yeah, with the terrific fastball that he possesses, excellent breaking ball that he varies, and then that changeup, he's got a chance to be something special.
I have to ask you, as Mitch Moreland bats with an 0-2 count, what Lance McCullers was asking, if anything, when you guys had that discussion. And wow, that's a nice change of speeds by Colin McHugh for a strikeout. That's his second of the night.
We were standing there talking about the changeup that Lance McCullers throws, and Nolan walked up in the middle of the conversation as you see this over-the-top yacker for the strikeout. But Nolan was asked how he threw his and what the variance of speed from the fastball was. And for Lance, of course, we see the changeup at 89 to 91 miles an hour. So he does his own thing, but my take on the whole deal is, and always will be, that what really matters is that you get a grip that you trust and you throw it as hard as you can. And Lance says he does just that.
Hamilton shoots one foul for a 1-ball 1-strike count. He grounded out with the bases loaded to end the top of the first inning. Susan Pittman thinks Larry Anderson is the answer to our question, Ash.
I don't think that's right.
Thanks for trying, Susan.
I think it was a classy left-hander, wasn't it?
It was. Very classy lefty who is now an agent.
That's not to imply that he's no longer classy.
Well, he's staying classy in San Diego, is he not?
Yes. Yes.
1 ball and 2 strikes. A hard thrower. And he told me a story one time about when he was drafted, Ash. He was drafted in a low round, and his arm was bothering him at the time. And he went to Class A ball. And he had pitched a few times. Hamilton strikes out. That's strikeout number 3 for McHugh. And then they needed a starter at Double-A, so they called him up to start, and he just knew that his arm was going to kill him. Some nice riding action there on that 4-seamer, and Colin has emphasized that in some recent starts, Ash. So
yeah, that high fastball serves him very well.
Yeah. Joe decided that he would go to the mound and give it his best shot in the starting assignment. And in the first inning, his arm was killing him, and he called the trainer out. They got him out of the game, and they put him on rest for several weeks. He did not pitch. And he said that was what he needed, because when he had been drafted, his arm was bothering him, but didn't want to tell anybody anything. But with the rest, he came around, and the arm never bothered him again until after, what, 8 or 10 Major League seasons he needed Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, and it was a lot of times when I do have the opportunity to mention Joe, or this unnamed player.
Yeah, Joe is his first name.
Yeah, well, it's not your everyday Joe, but
no,
much better than that. But he was one of the guys the Astros lost in the early 80s to injury, that when you look at that list of the talent and players that the Astros lost, man, they were set up to be some kind of team.
Yes, they were. Here's a guess. Kurt Schilling. That is not correct.
We used to call him Joe.
We have several correct answers on Twitter. Off the end of the bat, this will reach the seats. And it's 2-2. It's about time to let the cat out of the bag. Yes, sure. Let's get some other answers that we had first, Ash.
We have other answers?
Ken Forsch.
Yeah, I did see Ken Forsch on there. Of course, Ken threw the no-hitter early in the season, first week of 1979. And against the Atlanta Braves.
Tiger Kaufman got it. Marcia Fisher got it. Joe Sambito struck him out. Colin McHugh struck out the side here in the 4th inning, and he leads it 3-0. happened after the All-Star break. We hope everybody just had a wonderful time to rest, relax, work, whatever is on the schedule. But a lot of people in baseball obviously had that chance to relax. And nice to be back at it, though, for the big push now.
That it is, Brownie. No doubt about it. 71 games, counting tonight's, to play now in what should be the second half of the season, right? And the Astros have put themselves in a very good spot. It was not a good conclusion to the first half, but this team is right where a lot of people would have said no chance coming out of spring training. And I think that with their talent, they're the odds-on for me.
Well, tonight is looking very good for them so far. They've built a 3-0 lead. They look for more now as they go to the bottom of the fourth. And John Singleton steps up. He drew a walk in the second, entering the game for the injured Chris Carter. Hits that one high and foul left field side for strike one. Martin Perez, just beginning his fourth inning of work, has already thrown 51 pitches. 30 have been strikes. The Astros spent 84 days in first place, 0-2. And then Sunday, when they lost at Tampa Bay and the Angels won, they slipped a half game behind the Angels. A.J. Hinch was asked about that. He said, well, our goal is to be in first the last day of the season. 1-2.
That's the only one that matters, right?
Yeah. Or even second would get a wild card spot in some divisions, depending on what the record is. Could even be a third place team that would get a wild card opportunity. There's a bouncer going foul. 1-2.
And don't go saying, oh, I don't want my team to get into the postseason as a wild card. The two teams in the World Series last year were wild cards.
Yes, they were.
And we've seen numerous occasions where wild cards have gotten there. So you take your chances.
Singleton takes. It's 2-2. General Manager Jeff Luhnow did a question and answer, and Brian McTaggart has written about that on Tags Lines at MLB.com. You can get it at Astros.com. Jeff saying it's a slow developing trade market this year. Things may pick up now that the All-Star game is behind us. 3 balls, 2 strikes. The Astros will look to improve the team, but they'll also balance that against the need to keep the talent flow coming for the future from the minor leagues.
Why, I would ask, might it be a slow developing trade market?
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of general managers are playing cards and they're keeping them close to the vest until about the 30th of July to try to get a higher price. Little jam shot, broken bat, looping single to right center field for Singleton. And he's on for the second straight time since entering the game.
I was going to suggest on top of that, or with it, that close divisions right now might make it that way. The American League East, the last place Red Sox are 6.5 back. You look at the American League West as John Singleton plays the hidden music for what we're talking about. The Oakland A's in last place, 8.5 back. So you got a lot of teams, certainly in the American League anyway, that have a legit chance to get to the postseason.
L.J. Ho's the batter. He ripped an RBI single to right in the second to make it 1-0. Bouncer back off Perez's glove over to Beltre, and Beltre makes the recovery to get the out at first. A 1-5-3 play for out number 1 with Singleton advancing.
If that ball's handled on the mound, the Texas Rangers in the 4th inning have turned their 4th double play of the night. And you watch it, it's a ball that should have been handled, but Adrian Beltre just works his magic.
He's outstanding. Good play by Beltre to get Hose. Now it's Castro batting. Castro bounced into one of those 3 double plays tonight in the second inning. Ball 1 to Jason. The last year the Astros had a better record at the All-Star break than 7 games over 500 was in 01 when there were 10 over at 48 and 38. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. With so many teams in contention, it is going to be a most interesting 2 weeks to see what kind of roster adjustments these contending clubs make. And it's really more of an issue about teams that deem themselves to be non-contenders and make players available. There aren't many who would consider themselves non-contenders right now. Foul back, 1 and 2. In the American League West, even though the Mariners have had a very disappointing season, they're 7.5 out. With the talent they have, I would assume they consider themselves contenders, Ash.
I think so.
How about the Athletics? They lead the league in ERA. They're 41-50. They have a terrible record in 1-run games. Maybe they think they can make some magic happen.
Statistically, there are numbers that say the Oakland A's are much better than that 41-50 mark.
Grounded to second. Odor over to Moreland. And Singleton to third, 2 outs.
Yeah, I think that certainly plays a big part. And I don't think teams like we've talked about want to tell their fans we don't believe we have a chance. It would have to be an overwhelming deal to make some of those clubs give up on some of the talent they have.
You saw the Oakland record of 41-50. That's the worst record in the American League. .451 winning percentage. The last time every team in the American League was at .450 or better at the All-Star break was 1944. Jake Marisnick, the batter. He doubled and scored at the third. There's strike 1. 1944. You remember that, of course.
Well, that was not my favorite season.
You know, come to think of it, wasn't that the year the St. Louis Browns played the St. Louis Cardinals in the World Series?
You have to show me that.
Okay, we'll check. Broken bat, Beltre. 2 out. No runs a hit, and a man left at third. 3-0 Houston through 4.
Florida. Of course, we're talking about Colin McHugh tonight for the Astros. Colin, who has shut down the Rangers through 4 innings, also struck out the side in the 4th inning, getting Mitch Moreland, Josh Hamilton, and then Elvis Andrus in order. And first 3 strikeouts on the night. Make that 2, 3, and 4 for Colin McHugh. Pitching well.
And with the 3-0 lead, he goes to the 5th inning now. Martin Chirino, Sandy Shields due up for the Rangers. Rangers have had a very unusual season. They started the year 8-16. Then they did a complete reversal and went 29-15. And now in the last 20, they've gone 5-15. Which team are they? That's what their fans are probably trying to figure out right now. Martin, the batter, he bounced into a double play.
And if you're playing GM for a team like that, which part of the record do you buy into?
Oh, becomes difficult, doesn't it? For John Daniels, the general manager. Jeff Bannister thinks his club is a contender, and when we check that AL West, we could understand why all those teams would think that, having remembered recent years with the Astros in 04 and 05, if you consider that recent, and what they did in the second half of the year. Of course, to some people, that's ancient history. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Okay, I want to see you tell that to Jeff Bagwell, Craig Biggio, and I can name a few others.
Fielded by Singleton. 1 out. Well, speaking of Craig Biggio, a week from Sunday, he delivers his Hall of Fame acceptance speech.
Oh, I hope he's sat down and started to write that thing. Well, that would be daunting.
Wouldn't it, though?
Yes.
David Barron wrote an article about Craig's preparations, practicing the speech to his family. Chirinos grounded out to short in the 2nd inning. Craig did tip one thing, that he'll have a lot of Matt Galante stories in there, and deservedly so. There's ball 1.
Any hecklers in that family?
Well, we were also hearing about some of the guest list from Astros business president Reed Ryan before the game tonight. I believe that all the general managers are going to be there who were with the Astros when Craig played, from what we're hearing.
That's great.
Including Bill Wood, Jerry Hunsaker. That'll be an August gathering in Cooperstown a week from Sunday. 2 balls and a strike. I believe Art Howe and Larry Durker will be there.
Here we go.
Or Bob Watson going to get a chance to be there.
That would be great. Line shot to left field. L.J. Hose cuts it off. And that's a single for Chirinos. In this night of singles for the Rangers. They have 8.
Celebrate Craig Biggio at the Biggio Hall of Fame weekend, presented by Coca-Cola, from July 31st to August 2nd. Biggio weekend giveaways include a Hall of Fame bobblehead, replica pinstripe jersey, and a replica Hall of Fame plaque, each to 10,000 fans. For more information, visit Astros.com or call 1-800. Make that 1-877-9-ASTROS. Do it today.
That'll be an important time for the fans here in Houston to celebrate Craig when he returns from Cooperstown. Delino DeShields is 1 for 2. Started the bat, and it's ball 1. DeShields was a first-round pick by the Astros in the 2010 draft. He was the 8th player drafted. His father was also a first-round pick. There's a check swing, and that goes DeShields' way, and it's 2-0. I need to correct something. He's not Delino DeShields Jr. That's a myth that we all had thought was true for a few years, but we heard earlier this year that he's not officially junior. But once you get something in your brain, how do you get it out, Ash?
He's a full-grown young man.
Frontal lobotomy?
I guess so.
Foul back, and it's 2-1.
Once true, always true, right?
His dad was quite a speedy base stealer as well, so those genes have carried along quite well to this native of Gaston, Georgia. Now, last year, wonder what Delino was thinking when he hit 236 at Corpus Christi. And did you think he was maybe had the idea in his mind that he was a major leaguer in 2015?
Yeah, you wonder what a player thinks, but I think maybe we got a glimpse as to what others thought about it. Texas Rangers took a shot, and boy, it's certainly worked out to this point.
It has worked out for them. And by the Rule 5 draft, they have to keep him on the major league roster all season or offer him back to the Astros. It would seem that he's going to be a keeper. The liner into left field. That's another single for the Rangers. This is one crazy game. 9 singles for Texas, and 2 men on with 1 out for Rougned Odor.
Well, you get the sense that Collins got him right where he wants him. They had 4 singles in the first inning, did not score. I'm impressed with the at-bats right now of Delino DeShields. Junior or no junior.
Yeah. That was not a junior size swing of the bat.
No.
Rougned Odor is 1 for 2.
No kid's meal to go with that one.
Odor singled over shortstop, and he was gunned down at second by Jake Marisnick trying to stretch that hit. In the 3rd inning, he hit the fly ball to right field. Colby Rasmus caught it and threw out DeShields, doubling him off first base. Now Rasmus is moving deeper into right field now. He's backing up about 10 steps. He was really shallow. And it's ball 1. Rasmus is very rangy, a man who's played 95% of the time in center field in his major league career, but he's brought that center fielder's range to left field and to right this season when called upon to do that.
The way he's moving around out there, I get the sense that he's trying to tempt hitters to come his way. He'll walk it in and then move it back just before the pitch. One way or another, he plays a shallow right.
The players who can get back can do that. Some don't feel comfortable going back on balls. And of course, the worst thing for an outfielder is to get beat deep, as they say. 3 balls, no strikes.
Altuve was able to beat Josh Hamilton deep.
Yes, he
was. Ball game, that double up against the wall.
Pretty impressive to the opposite field. Now 3-0 to Odor. And it's in for a strike for Colin McHugh. Colin has controlled his walks well this year. 28 walks. He's in his 119th inning.
You know, when you've got a Prince fielder in your lineup, as the Rangers do, for me, the assignment for Odor is exactly what he's doing right now. Try to coax any way to get on base.
Bouncer, Altuve, Correa, and Singleton, safe at first. That was slick, but they didn't get the call at first for an inning-ending double play. Odor is speedy, and he just beat it.
And you know, the Astros are scurrying about trying to find out what their review system shows. Let's take our own look. Carlos had to get out of the way, and that took a little extra beat. Was it too much? Yeah, he's safe at the bag.
AJ's back off the top step, and now Brent Strom will go out to the mound. So it will not be a challenge for AJ Hinch. Managers typically come on to that top step, and that alerts everybody else on the field that they are considering a challenge until they get the word from their video room. And in that case, it was a negative. So Strom is at the mound, and Fielder will be the batter.
That's mighty close, but you used to always hear tie goes to the runner. That beats a tie. For me, Odor is going to stand with that infield leg out.
And it could be a very meaningful play, because now Fielder has the ability to tie this game. Fielder's 2 for 2 tonight. He's hit 25 career homers against the Astros. Here at Minute Maid Park, Prince is a .335 career hitter, and he's driven in 47 runs in 56 games here.
That good hard slide and effort into the bag by Delano DeShields sets up for me this at bat now for Prince Fielder.
Strike on a foul tip. Fielder's had a pair of 3-hit games against the Astros this year. Last year he missed most of the season with a herniated disc. Had neck surgery. He had missed 1 game in the previous 5 years. In the air, Marwin Gonzalez, and it's Castro with the catch. McHugh out of trouble with a 3-0 lead in the 5th.
Progressive Insurance fan of the game, and tonight a very special guest. With all that's been going on with our military the last couple of days, we thought it was a good idea to honor someone who's a family member of a disabled veteran. Johnny Nemechek, a sophomore at Friendswood High School, is a Folds of Honor scholarship recipient. Tell us a little bit about, first of all, Folds of Honor and what that is.
Well, the Folds of Honor is a nonprofit organization that provides educational scholarships to children and spouses of wounded and deceased veterans.
And your father was a disabled Air Force veteran, is that right?
Yes, sir. That is correct. I just want to thank him so much for his service, and I want to thank all the men and women who have served this country.
What does it mean to you to get this scholarship to help you with your future educational plans? You'd like to go to the Air Force Academy, wouldn't you?
That would be great. This scholarship is actually going to help me out a lot going down the road, and I just want to thank the Folds for just giving it to me and helping me out. And I want to thank Budweiser and Silver Eagle Distributors for helping make all this possible with the Folds.
There are a lot of corporate sponsors for the Folds of Honor. It is a terrific organization. Now, Johnny got to throw out the first pitch tonight, and you did a pretty nice job, but that's a little nerve-wracking, isn't it?
I was very nervous going up there with all those eyes on me, but it was a great honor to be able to do all that.
Well, nice job, and congratulations on being our Progressive Insurance fan of the game.
Thank you so much.
Way to go, Folds of Honor. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Bart. Where'd you get the cap anyway? That is some kind of a cap. There's strike one. Marwin Gonzalez is 1 for 2. Beautiful cap. Haven't seen that one.
It's kind of ideal for the All-Star effort.
It certainly is. 4th of July just passed. Good occasion to break that one out. Marwin takes, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. He singled and scored in the 3rd inning when the Astros scored a couple. 67 pitches for Martin Perez. Toronto beat Tampa Bay in Toronto 6-2. Hutchison 9-2 now. He's chopped off the plate and it goes foul. Josh Donaldson hit his 22nd home run for the Blue Jays. They're back to 500, as is Tampa Bay.
Hutchison is one of those guys who's got tremendous run support from his Blue Jays teammates.
True.
Taking full advantage.
That's how he can be 9-2 with a 5.19 ERA.
Exactly.
We might as well just start that AL East from now. They're all pretty close to 500 at the moment.
Almost a dead heat.
6.5 games separating first place New York Yankees and 5th place Boston Red Sox, who will be here next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. 2-2. Red Sox Nation usually turns out in pretty big numbers here. In the AL East, the Yankees came into play tonight with a 3.5 game lead over the Rays, but they have lost. Let's see, no, they're still playing. Blue Jays, look at the teams at 500. That is crazy.
The Orioles had briefly run to the top of that heap. Tampa Bay held that position for a good long while early in the season. I think the Yankees, with pitching, of course you could say that about any of those teams, might have the best shot.
3-2, and the Yankees probably will add to their pitching.
You would think so.
Blue Jays would be candidates to do that, as would just about every contender, correct?
Well, I don't know that Tampa Bay would be that team that would go out and spend money. I'm not sure.
True. Broken bat liner in the left field. Marwin Gonzalez is 2 for 3. Takes the big turn. Now the ball comes back in from DeShields. And Marwin, there's some rave reviews from A.J. Hinch about the way he hit on the road trip.
Yeah, and I think it even goes beyond that. I think it goes to the comment about what an outstanding utility player this guy has become. That bat from both sides of the plate right now effective, but from the right side, he's got an extremely quick and powerful bat.
There's that cap on sale.
That's nice.
Good. They have some left.
Yeah.
Very sharp.
If that's the last one, I'm going to beat you, Bronny.
It's a race. Carlos Correa with an RBI single in the 3rd, 1 for 2. Well, if we had a race, we'd have to block out a couple of days on the schedule for that 100-yarder. There's ball 1. Now, Marwin hit .421 on the road trip, 8 for 19. And 2 for 3 tonight gives him 10 for the last 22 for Marwin Gonzalez. So we talk about options on the infield, and he certainly is one.
Of course, the one question mark on the infield right now has been first base. So how might that all come to play?
He has played there some. Strike. 1-1. By the way, the Astros will have to make a player move tomorrow because Scott Feldman comes off the disabled list to pitch tomorrow night's game. Phillies beat Miami 6-3. And there are a lot of rumors swirling around that Philadelphia club on trade issues. In tight for a ball. It's 2-1 with Spencer Patton warming up in the Texas bullpen. And he's popping it. We checked on the 1944 season. Ash and the Browns played the Cardinals in the World Series that year. Browns were managed by Luke Sewell. Cardinals by Billy Southworth. And because it was during World War II, things were pretty tight. Finances were tight for a lot of people. Because the Browns were in the American League and the Cardinals the National League. Those two managers, Luke Sewell and Billy Southworth, shared an apartment in St. Louis.
Now there's a great story. You just don't have that kind of camaraderie anymore.
And you know, it worked out, of course, great until the World Series. Now they're both in town. Who has to move out?
I'm not sure how that plays out. You know, we need to hear about Mike Scioscia and Don Mattingly coming together and living together out in L.A., right?
This doesn't seem to be a fit.
Bruce Bochy and Bob Melvin in the Bay Area.
Yeah. Foul back. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yankees beat Seattle at Yankee Stadium 4-3. Tanaka wins his 6th, beating Beimel. Andrew Miller with his 19th save.
May I say that Masahiro Tanaka could go a long way to being that extra pitching the Yankees could utilize to win that division.
Yeah, with Brian Cashman probably blindfolding himself, worried about that elbow blowing out every time he pitches because he did not have surgery. Foul back. But nonetheless, yeah, he's hanging in quite well, isn't he?
But a guy that opts not to have surgery, I'll just take a little velocity off this year when I go to the mound. Everything will work out just fine. I think you find as a pitcher, as a player, you've got to go and give it all when you get on the field.
Foul back as the Astros try to build to their 3-0 lead. Each club with 9 hits and no errors. The Rangers have left 6. The Astros have stranded 3. So the Astros trying to break this streak. In the last 6 games, they have scored 3 runs or fewer. And this is the longest streak of that type of lack of offense they've had in 2015. They've hit .216 in the previous 6 games against Ranger pitching, scoring 18 runs in those 6, and that's why they lost 4 of the 6. That's a punch out, and Correa is down for out number 2. Strikeout number 2.
There's that back foot slider, cutter, sorry, Mr. Pettit. Very tough pitch for right-hand hitters to deal with. And again, that's the pitch that Andy Pettit always called his cutter.
Perez has not retired Gaddis tonight. Evan 2 for 2 against him with a triple and a single. In that Seattle loss to the Yankees 4-3, Kyle Seager hit a pair of homers, giving him 14. Yankees got an A-bomb from A-Rod. Number 19. Chris Young hit number 11. Fouled away. There's strike 1. If you're a baseball fan with thoughts of what might happen here at the end of this season, Alex Rodriguez, who was not named to the American League All-Star team, may have a chance to do something big in the postseason.
Well, he's been better than I think most of us thought he was going to be this year by a wide margin.
They'll be starting a little bit later in Anaheim, Boston and the Angels. Foul back, 0-2. C.J. Wilson goes tonight for the Angels. They really finished up to the All-Star break on an up note to take over the top spot in the AL West. Another foul ball keeps the count at no balls, 2 strikes on Evan Gaddis. With 54 runs batted in, has just improved so much in run producing situations as the season has evolved, and he is the club leader in the RBI department. The Astros are 4th in runs in the American League. That might surprise some people. 1-2. Baseball is so much of what have you done for me lately kind of sport with 162 games. But the Astros twice now. They did it during their 7-game losing streak earlier this year, and they've done it during the 6-game losing streak. They have just fallen into a team slump in both of those streaks. They scored 16 runs when they lost 7 in a row earlier this year. They've scored 7 runs in their last 6 losses, and it's just something that seems to be infectious. But now tonight the hits are sprinkled throughout the lineup.
You can see some amazing stats on Baseball Reference. Many places will have them. Runs scored, batting average, all the different offensive numbers in wins for a team versus losses. And it's astounding how widely those two are separated.
Still 1-2. 7 different Houston players have hits. Chirinos comes out. 84 pitches for Perez.
Chirinos just took one off that right hand.
Oh yeah, that hand is exposed, Asher.
Get that thing out of there.
Where did you keep your bare hand?
Oh, far too often in the wrong place. Therefore, I have fingers that don't look so good these days. The knuckleball really changed me around as a catcher. Not for the good, believe me. And no, I never wore fingernail polish.
What would be your teaching recommendation for a young catcher as far as where to keep that right hand while he's receiving the ball with the man on base?
Ideally, you keep it behind the right knee area so that you can quickly get it in play. But it's a challenging issue, and especially when you've got a guy on that you're concerned about that might be running.
Yanis takes one in the dirt. It's 2-2.
I think I watched a guy in Brad Ausmus for years that mechanically did just about everything to what I thought was perfection. And he kept his hand out of there. He didn't get injured. And it enabled him to play as many games as possible over the course of every year.
The Astros are 17-19 in games started by left-handed pitching. They've hit about the same versus right-handers compared to lefties. Roll to shortstop. Andrus to second to Odor for the force on Gonzalez. No runs a hit, a man left. 3-0 Houston. Book your low fare now at Southwest.com. By Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Whataburger. You've never had a club sandwich quite like this. The Whataburger Honey Mustard Whata Chicken Club. Here for a limited time. 3-0 game here in air-conditioned comfort at Minute Maid Park. The Astros lead it. They got one in the second on a single by L.J. Hose. And they got two more in the third. An Altuve double. Scored run number 2 and a Correa single. Got the third run home. Colin McHugh has scattered 9 Texas singles through the first 5. Here's Adrian Beltre taking strike 1. Beltre got a hit to left and line to center. Big cut, and it's 0-2. Adrian let it rip.
Perfect little slider cutter to start things outside Black, and then goes with that 4-seamer away to get the big swing.
It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count for Colin McHugh.
Bit of a rare changeup, especially when you consider a right-hand hitter at the plate. Love to see more of that pitch.
We don't see a lot of those.
You know, and that was part of the conversation with Lance McCullers today. He's game to throw it to right-hand hitters.
Colin throws it about 6% of the time. And the high rider makes it 2-2. At home, McHugh is 5-2 with a 5.74 ERA this year. Barwin backs up at third base.
curve in the dirt, and it's 3-2. Well, the Angels are getting underway momentarily at home, as we mentioned, against Boston, with the co-leaders in homers in the American League, Albert Pujols and Mark Trout, with 26 each. They're the 8th teammates with 25 or more at the All-Star break since 1933, when the All-Star game began. Correa to his left, and he drops it. He didn't have his balance. He was a little late on the takeoff. Things just didn't seem quite in balance for Carlos, and Beltre reaches.
Looked like he handled it with the glove beautifully, and then ball simply came out when he tried to make the transfer. But you're right, Brownie, that the footwork there didn't feel like ballet was involved.
It's ruled a single for Beltre. That is 10 singles for the Rangers. And Mitch Moreland's the batter. He's 1 for 2. Infield shifts around. And there's strike one as Moreland is out in front. Now, you remember that great home run race in '61 between Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle of the Yankees?
61 and 54, I think it ended, right?
Right, and Maris at the break had 33. Mantle had 29. The fans were really captivated during the last couple of months of that season by that race between two teammates. Might be the same for Pujols and Trout this year in the American League. In '03, the Angels were not a part of it, but the Cardinals were when Edmonds and Pujols were in the race. There's a high chop over first base and a fair ball at the right field line. And here's Beltre going into third base, throw back to first, hits the runner, and now here comes a run scoring. As it's 3-1, the ball got away. The throw came in from Colby Rasmus. It may have hit Moreland, and Beltre scored.
Oh, what a tough way to get an error if you're Colby Rasmus. You put a throw pretty much on the money at first base. And I think John Singleton might have gotten himself kind of locked behind the runner.
Oh, yeah.
How often do you see a chopper like that, that even if it had landed outside of the line, was deemed to have been fair over the bag, and that's accurate as to where it needs to be fair.
Just looking at that replay, he seemed to lose his focus. And he was unhappy that the ball was fair. Here's Hamilton, 0 for 2. He smacks one foul. Now he represents the tying run. So a single and an error on Rasmus with the throw getting away. But Singleton was looking up the right field line, and then he turned back toward the plate, took his eye off the plate as the throw from Rasmus came in. Chad Paul's warming up for Houston, and the curveball gets Hamilton out in front. 0-2. Beltre hustled around to score on the Rasmus error, his second of the year. High to right field, Rasmus back. Will he have room? He is out of room, and right there he picks it off the top of the wall. Very close to a tie ball game, and the crowd is loving that catch for out number one.
I think the issue there for Josh Hamilton was, I don't think that had a chance to be a single, and that's all they've done all night. Man. Well, that's about as close as it comes.
Very close to a tie game, and now it's Elvis Andrus. He's 1 for 2. 1-11-0 for the Rangers, 3-9-1 for the Astros. And that is ball one, with Spencer Patton warming up again for the Rangers. So McHugh now 1 pitch away from his 90th of the night, trying to make a big one here in the 6th inning. pitch way up and in, and he got a swing, and it's 1-1.
Classic case of a hitter making up his mind he was going to get a fastball, and when he did, no matter where it was, he was going to get the big swing.
Martine's on deck. Off the end of the bat, popped up. Singleton looks at Altuve, who's there, and Rasmus makes the catch. 2 outs. Look back at the run scoring. Beltre at first. Moreland a high chopping single. Rasmus over, up against the wall, and he throws it into first.
Look at the positioning of John Singleton. He got behind the runner. And, you know, I wonder, you were talking about that John seemed to get maybe distracted, disappointed as the chopper went over the bag and called a fair ball down the line. Did that prevent him in some way from getting on the other side of the runner and being able to handle the throw?
It probably did, having looked at that other angle on it. Martine is 0 for 2. It looked as if he turned into a fan or a spectator and was so disappointed that he just lost his concentration, lost his focus.
Another big swing by a Rangers hitter.
This is the first of 42 remaining games for the Rangers within the American League West, where they're 11-23, and they know they need to reverse that if they're to be a part of anything good. That's blocked by Castro. 1 ball, 1 strike. Since the year 2000, there have been 20 different teams from the American League West who reached the playoffs, and only 1 had a losing record within the division. It's amazing that even 1 team did it. It was the Rangers in 2012. They were 27-31 within the AL West.
Well, they certainly took care of business elsewhere then.
Yeah, that really forces the pressure to win those other games. You're right. 2 balls and a strike.
I just find this version of the Rangers to be so intriguing in that, and again, they have the best road record in the American League. The best. And they are dead last in home record.
Interesting matchup with the Astros' excellence here and the Rangers' excellence away from home. A shot foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Astros have won 20 of their last 27 here at Minute Maid Park. They're 28-16 here, and the thing the players can now enjoy is the way these crowds have swollen here after school got out, and with the Astros in first for almost 3 months. This is a baseball town again. It's a very big crowd here tonight. Fireworks after the game. Tomorrow, we hear, will probably be a sellout. In the dirt. 3-2. It's a 6:10 start time tomorrow night. Some of you might have noticed the earlier start times on Saturdays this season of 3:10. Those have now all gone past us, and everything on Saturday will be a 6:10 start, I believe, for the rest of the season at home. 3-2, 2 outs. Singleton backs up behind Moreland. And it's in the air to shallow right. Altuve out and calling in front of Rasmus. To end it, the Rangers get a run on 2 hits with an error. They leave a man. It's 3-1 Houston in the 6th.
Offensively, Jake Marisnik got it all started as the Astros already were leading 1-0. Jake, with a lot of hustle, came up with a double. Jose Altuve, with a lot of muscle, came up with a second double, made it 2-0 Houston. And then Carlos Correa shot one on the ground back up the middle for the base hit to drive in Marwin with the 3rd run. And the Astros still staying there. 3-1 now. The Astros lead it over the Rangers.
And so they've had an active night already, but this game far from decided as the Astros come up here in the bottom of the 6th inning with that 3-1 lead. The Rangers are changing pitchers. They're going with Spencer Patton. Time now for our AT&T call to the bullpen. Martin Perez goes 5, allows 9 hits, 3 runs, and here's the right-hander Patton. In 11 games, no decisions, an ERA of 8.71.
See, not a lot of work there, just the 10 1/3. That's a pretty nice little strikeout to walk ratio, 9-2.
Patton is 27 years old from Urbana, Illinois.
I'd like to take your chances, though, with a guy that gives up 3 home runs in just 10 innings.
Colby Rasmus is going to take his chances. He's 0 for 2. And the fastball is off the plate, ball 1. Perez allowing 9 hits and 3 runs in 5 innings. Walked 2 and fanned 2. 3 double plays behind him. And his return to the rotation after Tommy John surgery more than a year ago. Foul ball past Rich Dower, the first base coach, and that makes it a 1-1 count. 86 pitches for Perez tonight. 54 were strikes. Patton pitched 9 times last year for the Rangers with a 1-0 record and a 0.96 ERA. Went to Southern Illinois Edwardsville. Foul ball out of the mitt makes it 1-2. Patton was drafted by Kansas City in the 24th round in 2011. Traded last year for Jason Fraser. Ranger bullpen has 8 blown saves. A 4.38 ERA is the highest in the American League. It's 2-2. Ranger pitching has accounted for a 4.21 ERA overall, starters and relievers combined. That's 25th in the major leagues. (3-2) to Rasmus. Just got a question on Twitter. Will we be keeping you abreast of the Angels game? Absolutely. No score, bottom of the first right now in Anaheim. Foul back. Rangers will be playing the Angels on the 3rd leg of this road trip, beginning tonight. 3 here, 3 in Colorado, 3 in Anaheim.
You're saying Mike Trout has not homered yet?
Mike Trout has not batted yet, so he has not homered yet.
How about that all-star performance?
Oh, yeah. Struck him out looking. Well, it just seemed to be almost scripted with Trout winning the MVP. As great a year as he's had last year, and now putting together another solid, perhaps another MVP year.
Start getting that reputation, and when you do anything like the leadoff home run, it will tend to get you a lot of votes. But he's kind of become that guy, the face of Major League Baseball for the moment.
Singleton has a walk and a single. Chris Carter left with an ankle injury, right ankle sprain, and Singleton came off the bench. There's ball 1. Singleton had terrific numbers at AAA Fresno. 17 homers when he was recalled June 26th. In for a strike, and it's 1-1. And he was tied for the minor league lead in runs batted in with 66, along with another Astros minor leaguer, A.J. Reed. Reed is just lighting it up this year. And he is a first baseman. So the competition could be fierce for years to come to hold down first for the Houston Astros. Big cut, and it's 2-2 to John Singleton. You know, there were 20 players in the All-Star game aged 25 or younger.
That's something.
Preston Tucker on deck to hit for L.J. Hose next. Fastball and a strikeout. So Patton zips one by Singleton, and now it's Tucker pinch hitting.
When that fastball right there is getting swung through consistently by a hitter, something mechanically, something has to be going wrong. And for John Singleton to put up the numbers he's put up in the minor leagues this year in AAA, just it leaves you wondering what happens between the 2 levels.
Preston Tucker, the pinch hitter for L.J. Hose, at 256, has 21 runs batted in with the 5 homers, and there's strike 1. And Tucker, as a pinch hitter, is 2 for 4, 2 homers, 4 runs batted in. He hit 300 on the road trip. 1 ball, 1 strike. He leads the club with those 2 pinch hit homers, and in fact, those were his first 2 in the majors. Well, Patton is painting that outside edge. It's a 1-2 count. Nice command of that pitch. He appeared here May 6th and gave up a 2-run homer to Chris Carter. It's 2-2. Rangers have a 71-45 lead in the all-time series with the Astros. But last year the Astros won the Silver Boot for the first time in years. Foul back. And for all these years they've played, that's been the trophy that a team could point to as, hey, we won the season series, but there's a lot more at stake than that Silver Boot trophy as they meet here in 2015.
In particular now with these teams being in the same division, these are meaningful games.
You know, after the Astros had those rivalries as a National League club with teams like the Cardinals and Cubs, when they started fresh 3 years ago in the American League, they really had no rivalries at all. Still waiting for those to evolve. This could turn into one. Bounced, and Beltre's there, throwing to first for round number 3. After 6, 3-1 Houston.
Will Harris set to go on the hill for the Astros. The Astros face the Red Sox in a 3-game series July 21st to the 23rd. That Wednesday game, July 22nd, is also $1 Hot Dog Wednesday, presented by Nolan Ryan Beef here at Minute Maid Park. And for tickets, call 1-877-9-ASTROS or go to astros.com. And come hungry, guys.
Oh, you always come hungry, but yeah, we're inviting everybody to do that. Preston Tucker's in the game in left field after pinch hitting for L.J. Hose and grounding out, and the new pitcher is Will Harris. He has had a phenomenal year, Ash.
Well, if you consider allowing 16 hits and 41 in the 3rd innings as phenomenal, then I'll go ahead and go with that. 0.87 ERA.
Your standards are high, pal.
These are incredible numbers. A whip at 0.7.
It's been a magical season for Will Harris, who faces Robinson Chirinos, who's 1 for 2. There's strike 1. In 6 innings, Colin McHugh allowed 11 hits, all singles, 1 run, no walks, 4 strikeouts. Throwing 97 pitches, 66 for strikes. It's not as if Will Harris throws 98 miles per hour, but he just has such good command of everything he throws, Ash.
Yeah, it's not watching Aroldis Chapman dominate hitters with an over 100-mile-an-hour fastball. But he does throw hard, and he's just put together a season that it's going to be hard for him to ever match. For instance, last year, 27 hits in 29 innings, so he's kind of that 1 hit per inning kind of guy, but it has come together this year under Brent Strom.
Will got a little relaxation in over the All-Star break in Louisiana. He pitched 5 times on the 10-game road trip. Did not give up an earned run. He gave up a couple of unearned runs in Boston. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He was a waiver claim last November, and the strength of his team began to be assembled with that move. And then the signings of free agents after that in December. Luke Gregerson, Pat Neshek, Joe Thatcher came back. Foul ball up here. And it's still 1-2. Phil Boudreau almost made that catch.
I didn't know you could make a catch from under the desk.
Well, he had his hand sticking up. No hand left behind, you might say. Boots has made many plays up here down through the. Have we ever caught a foul ball up here, Boots? Never. Okay, there's one that ricocheted off the back wall, he said. 2-2. You were in the booth at Old Tiger Stadium, right?
Oh my, yes. That's not only a bring your glove, but bring your entire catcher's gear booth.
That was just the wall behind where the visiting broadcasters sat was just pockmarked with foul ball marks. To shallow right, Colby Rasmus is tracking it down. 1 out.
And now look at tomorrow night's pitching matchup presented by Chevron. Care for your car. Scott Feldman back in the fold as he takes that 4-4 record to the hill. 4.80 the ERA. He'll go up against the veteran Colby Lewis, who's 8-4 for these Texas Rangers. ERA about equal with that of Scott Feldman. So it should be fun. Like you said, Brownie, that, what is it, 6-10 start?
6-10. Colby Lewis beat the Astros here May 6th with a very good game. There's strike one to Delino DeShields, who was shortening up on it. He is 2 for 3. Here's an obscure stat for you on Colby Lewis. He has the best whip, walks and hits per innings pitched against the Astros in history. In for a strike. It's 0-2.
I guess I would have taken my stab at somebody who had pitched for a team that had played against the Astros a bunch, and maybe a Cardinals pitcher through the years, but that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, maybe somebody like Bob Gibson.
Yeah, I guess he might have qualified had he pitched in that era.
Adam Wainwright, maybe. Chris Carpenter. Carpenter had a number of good games against the Astros.
Now, what year did Bob Gibson retire? 70-ish?
Yeah, I'm going to say 74, maybe 75. Somewhere around in there.
Boy, am I grateful I came up in the American League.
Just missed off the corner. 36,904 the paid attendance tonight. And these fans have seen a most unusual game. The Rangers got 4 consecutive hits in the first inning and did not score. They've out-hit the Astros 11-9. Bouncer third. Marwin Gonzalez to John Singleton, and the speedy DeShields is retired. 2 outs.
That's pretty good awareness there by Marwin Gonzalez, quickly getting rid of the baseball to get that speed of DeShields going down the line.
Well, DeShields with that kind of speed home to first does not leave an infielder an opportunity to make a bobble and get him out. Odor's 1 for 3. Boston nothing, the Angels nothing. Top of the second inning. Wade Miley's on the hill for the Red Sox. Means he should probably be pitching here next week, right?
Yeah, that would seem to set up that way. How about the off day? 3 games after the All-Star break.
That is highly unusual. I believe George Springer has a charity bowling event Monday night.
Hopefully he is just the MC.
1 ball, 1 strike. George seems like the type of athlete who can do about anything. Right?
Break it down left-handed, and I'm game.
Okay. What's he going to do? Race the bowling ball to the pins?
Ooh. Balls don't have a chance.
It's 2-1. It's great to see young players like George Springer and Carlos Correa get involved in the community and charitable endeavors. George, even though he is in a cast, is very much a part of this team. He made the road trip, and he's a cheerleader right now. What are we hearing about his return, Ash?
No, I haven't heard anybody speculate on that. I think it was the standard 6 to 8 weeks kind of an injury. Apparently he's lost some range in the process while being on the DL.
Okay, that happens.
But You know, all I can say is that every time we see George, it's like, when are you going to be back? And I bet he is just sick and tired of hearing that.
A.J. Hinch referred to that tonight, but said he's been a very positive force in the clubhouse. Fly ball after right center field. Rasmus will watch the flight of this one. That goes deep. It bounces, kicks off the fence. Picked up by Marisnik, and stretching it out, Odor hits for third base. He's in with a triple. His third of the year. And the Rangers get the potential tying run to the plate. Prince Fielder.
Well, that broke the string for the Rangers. All their hits being singles up until this point. Colby Rasmus once again was playing fairly shallow in right field and had no chance getting back to it.
Now Fielder, who's 2 for 3, is the batter. And a real challenge here for the Astros, leading 3-1 to get Fielder with Beltre on deck, maintain this 2-run lead in the 7th inning. It's ball 1.
That is a pitcher's pitch right there.
Tony Sipp is working in the Astros bullpen. A shot, but Correa's right there, positioned perfectly to throw out Fielder. No runs a hit, and the man stranded. 3-1 Houston in the 7th. It came in the 2nd inning, leading it off for the Astros. Evan Gattis in the bottom of the 2nd hits the ball, and he hits it hard into right center field. Right up on just a section of Cowles Hill. He keeps on churning all the way around to third. A triple for Gattis. His 5th triple of the year for the club leader. And then he later scored on the L.J. Ho's line drive single to right field. Now it's Keone Kela coming in. He's pitcher number 3 for the Rangers. And 5-5, a 3.11 ERA with 37 strikeouts and 12 walks in 37 2/3 innings.
He's been a bit of a workhorse at 42 games. And he's one of the guys that when you talk to the Texas folks, they will say has pitched well out of the bullpen this year. They've had a rather miserable first half of the year, you might say, out of the pen.
Kela, as you say, has been one of the standouts. Jason Castro facing him. Castro's 0 for 2. That's ball 1. Kela, who's born in Los Angeles, went to Everett Community College in the state of Washington. Just 22 years old. He was a 12th round pick in 2012 by the Rangers. That's foul ball, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Kela has pitched 3 times against the Astros and has not given up a run in those 3 innings. At Texas on April 11th, he came in the 7th inning with a 5-2 lead, got a hold in that game. He pitched a scoreless 11th inning in a 4-4 game at Texas the next night. Gets a strike, and it's 1-2. And then he was the winner in a 2-1 affair. The Rangers taking that one here against the Astros. May 4th, he entered with the score tied 1-1 in the 8th inning. So he's been in some important spots and done well against the Astros. He pops that one upstairs, and that takes the count to 2-2.
A couple of fastballs, both at 97 to go with the curveball that Jace was seeing. So you can understand, I mean, this guy's got the kind of stuff that can dominate. His bullpens are getting crazy tough now.
Inside with the slider, it's 3-2. Well, Kela came into the night tied with 4 others in the American League for the lead with 42 appearances, and that's the most among Major League rookies, the most ever for a Texas rookie through the first 88 games of a season. Pat Neshek's warming up for Houston. Marisnik on deck. Foul ball keeps Castro alive at 3-2. Detroit Tigers, who have been slumping lately, found the formula tonight, and they beat Baltimore and Detroit 7-3. Anibal Sanchez beating Ubaldo Jimenez. Brad Ausmus will take more of that type of pitching. 6 innings, 2 runs from Sanchez. That is a leadoff walk. Castro reaching on walk number 3 of the night for Ranger pitchers. Jake Marisnick comes up. Jake doubled and scored in the 3rd. He grounded out his 2nd time up in the 4th. Marisnick glanced down at third base coach Gary Pettis. Beltre's in tight. So there's a chance he could be sacrificing. Beltre is in very close. And he pushes a bunt. Kella will look at first base, and that was a great job by Mitch Moreland of backpedaling to the base while keeping his eye on that toss. That could have been disastrous for the Rangers.
Watch Jake Marisnick get down the line. Big guy. And he really does move it with each stride. He makes it very close.
Stepped in the right place. Sacrifice from 1 to 3 by Marisnick. And it's Altuve with a shot at driving in Castro from second now. That's one reason this fielder, who was the first baseman, Moreland, was hurt, then became the DH. Moreland is such a good defensive player at that position. Altuve has a walk, an RBI double, and a ground out. This is a big potential run represented by Castro here in the 7th inning. Odor has moved behind him and is close to being exactly behind second base. That opens up the right side of the infield more for Altuve with that positioning. A.J. Hinch and Jake Marisnick talk over that last play. So we're talking about where he should have bunted it, do you think?
Yeah, I wonder if that might not be kind of beyond the bunt. When you see guys doing such and such, go ahead and feel the freedom to swing the bat. I don't know. It's pure speculation on my part.
Altuve taps it foul. There's strike 1.
You know, and it also could be about the bunt. If in that scenario you see somebody playing back, go ahead and put it maybe even toward the shortstop. Although Beltre is so good on the third base side there, cutting in front, I don't know that that would be an option.
Altuve back to the pitcher. Kella checks the runner, throws him out. 2 outs, and now it's Marwin Gonzalez.
It sounded a bit like balsa wood was being employed by Jose.
It did.
It's time to name that Astro, brought to you by your local Honda dealer. Since Brownie wouldn't do it earlier, we'll go ahead and do it right now. Who am I? Name that Astro. Native of Bethpage, New York, and okay, the other things. Joe Sambito. Great guy, great teammate, heck of a left-handed pitcher. 1979 All-Star pitcher. That elbow went south on him, and one of the terrific talents that in a brief period of time, a couple of years for Houston, went down. The organization was set up to be really something at the time.
Marwin Gonzalez is 2 for 3, backs away. He's batted right each of the first 3 times to the plate. Was taking some extra practice swings, this time coming up as a left-handed batter. Marwin is hitting .234 from this side of the plate. He was at .286 right-handed when the game started. Bumped that up a few points. And a strike 1. J.D. Martinez hit his 26th home run of the year tonight for Detroit, and Victor Martinez his 6th.
And that team's playing .500 ball.
Yeah. The way things are going, it will be interesting to see what the victory totals of the 2 wildcard teams are in the American League this year. 1 ball, 1 strike. If you had to make a declaration right now of how many wins it would take to reach the playoffs in the AL,
wow,
what's your guess?
You know, I think there's usually a playoff team that comes out of each league that has what, around 86 wins, maybe?
Yeah, that might do it. In some years, it might. This could be one of those. 1 and 2, but on the other hand, even though the standings are as they are right now, that's not to preclude teams getting hot. A couple of them usually do from here on out.
You also can't foresee which teams might run away and hide. I don't know if Kansas City has the ability to do that in the Central. I keep seeing Detroit as a team that should be able to bounce back and make a run for it.
Foul back, still 1 and 2 tomorrow. And the Diamondbacks signed the #1 player in the draft, Dansby Swanson. They went right up to the deadline to get it done tonight. Vanderbilt shortstop. It's the 2nd straight year there was drama involving the #1 overall pick in the draft. As you know, last year with the Astros, Brady Aiken.
And he was a 1st-round pick this year by Cleveland, even though he's having, is it Tommy John surgery specifically? Yes.
Yes,
okay.
he has had that. Marwin strikes out. That's the end of the 7th inning, and the Astros lead it 3-1. Power player Colin McHugh guided the Astros through the first 6 innings. He allowed 11 hits, all of them singles, and just 1 run. He didn't walk anybody, struck out 4, got that one in on the hands of Josh Hamilton to get the ground out with the bases loaded in the 1st, and then the curveball. And the curveball is really a terrific pitch for him, but even though he struggled tonight, Ash, 1 run in 6 innings, he did a whale of a job.
He's a tough competitor. And he's not a big physical guy. He doesn't blow hitters away, and yet he'll challenge you up and in a lot of times with that fastball about 91 miles an hour. But he does have the other pitches to go with it, and he continually mixes. And even when he's scuffling a bit, he'll find a way.
Pat Neshek has 20 holds this season, 3-1 with a save and a 2.70 ERA. His first pitch is ball 1 to Adrian Beltre. Beltre's 2 for 3. Been an outstanding year for Pat Neshek. He worked a scoreless inning Sunday at Tampa Bay. Got a double play. That's a liner to center field. Marisnik, 1 out. Will Harrison 1 inning, allowed 1 hit, no runs with no walks, no strikeouts. It's hard to lower an ERA of 0.87, but he did it.
Hey, gotta get over now. Go.
1 inning at a time. Just keep dropping that bad boy.
Mitch Moreland has a couple of hits, and that hit in the 6th inning was a high bouncer over John Singleton up the right field line. That allowed Beltre to score on the error charged to Rasmus. That's ball 1. 36,904 ticket purchasers for this game tonight. Game 1 in a 3-game series.
Nice to see, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Players have to be loving this.
It changes things enormously, and I think for fans, when you come out with a nice crowd, it makes the night very exciting.
Off the plate for Neshek. He falls behind Moreland. It's 3-0. Hamilton waiting. Neshek has only 5 walks this season to go with 29 strikeouts. The walk to strikeout ratio, the strikeouts 5.80. 3-1 for every walk. In fact, Pat set an Astros record. He started the season with 24 consecutive games without walking a hitter. Now trying to come back. It was 3-0. Now here's the 3-1. And that's in the air deep to left field. Tucker out of room, up against the wall, leaping. And it's off that wall and kicks back to Marisnik on an opposite field double by Moreland. 15th double of the year. That's his third hit of the night.
You know, it just seems so improbable you could hit a fly ball that high, coming almost straight down to earth, and have it hit that wall and not land in the fielder's glove or in the seats. And it hits right about the M of American League.
The Rangers take advantage of the short porch and left. That gets the potential tying run to the plate in Hamilton. And he came very close to tying the game with a warning track fly ball caught by Rasmus. Last time up, there's strike one. He's 0 for 3. 2 for 5 for Hamilton against Neshek in his career. Hamilton's a .322 career hitter against the Astros. Off-speed pitch tapped him. You could just tell by that weak ground ball how much he was fooled.
Waited and still hit it right off the end of the bat.
Hamilton was the American League Most Valuable Player in 2010. He's a 5-time All-Star. 34 years old now. First player drafted in '99. Tampa Bay drafted him. Traded him to Cincinnati. Upstairs, and it's 1-2. After signing a big deal with the Angels, that 5-year contract for $125 million fell upon hard times. Angels owner Artie Moreno became extremely disenchanted with Hamilton and his lack of production. And moved him out. Bouncer and Altuve to his left. Makes the throw to Singleton. That's out number 2. Moreland to third.
Follow the Astros all season with MLB.com. At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or tablet.
Elvis Andrus with the runner at third and 2 outs. He is 1 for 3. Nationals and Dodgers game has been suspended tonight. There's ball 1.
They lost a bank of lights, I believe, in D.C.
Okay. It is in D.C. and it's 3-2 Nationals in the 6th inning. Middle of the 6th inning. Suspended. Oh, here it is after 3 power outages. In for a strike, and it's 1-1 for Neshek. That's a good matchup. Possibly a precursor of a postseason matchup between the Dodgers and the Nats. That's a drive to left field and back toward the big bullpen fence, and Tucker's back and fires it into second. And now the Rangers have a 3-2 ball game going. Tucker came close to making the catch, but it's an RBI double by Elvis Andrus, scoring Moreland.
This ball appeared to just evade that glove of Preston Tucker. That's that tough spot in the outfield. Watch Tucker try to go back, and you're dealing with the scoreboard. Am I around it? Where do I stand in terms of the board? And just never quite got there. And you can see how close he comes.
Gave it a shot, didn't he? Now a 1-run lead. Leonis Martin is 0 for 3. He has Andrus in second. The wall does cause issues for the left fielder. There's strike one. The double was the 16th for Andrews, and his second hit of the night closes the gap to a 1-run game now.
You know, at Fenway in Boston, that scoreboard, much taller than this, runs all the way towards center field. So you don't have that changing of the wall.
Right.
And I think this is a tougher one to play.
0-2, yeah. It's that area that we just saw with Tucker. The wall ends and juts directly back, and it's difficult for a left fielder to know exactly where that wall does end when he's keeping his eye on a fly ball. That's right where that one landed. Red Sox nothing, Angels nothing. They're in the top of the fourth now in Anaheim. And now Castro will go out to talk with Neshek. And now as we get ready for this stretch drive, Ash, pitchers like Neshek, Gregerson, Qualls are guys who have been seasoned under the pressure of pennant races, so they have been down this road before, and that's helpful to their teammates usually to know that.
Yeah, I imagine that's a big part of it. The other big part is simply how fresh can you keep your arm going down the stretch.
1-2.
Which is one reason why having a great starting staff can lead to a very successful bullpen bunch.
A.J. Hinch talked in the media about how heavily the Astros bullpen has been used to this point of the season, and it's responded very well. 2 balls, 2 strikes coming into this game tonight. The Astros bullpen ERA, the second best in the American League, 2.67. 17 wins. This is the kind of game the Rangers have not been able to win as often as they would have liked, coming from behind in the late innings this year. And a strikeout ends it in the top of the 8th inning. 1-run scoring on 2 hits with a man left. 3-2 Houston. Play involving this fly ball off the bat of Rougned Odor. The Shields took off, and then he couldn't locate the baseball. It was caught in right field by Colby Rasmus, who doubled him off first on the throw to John Singleton.
Yeah, we thought all along that maybe there was a crash course there of deking going on at second base performed by Carlos Correa. Not so, just a case of a young base runner not picking up a coach.
The Shields was doubled off in the 3rd. Rangers didn't score until the 6th inning. They were then able to put up another run in the 8th. Now it's 3-2 as they bring in Sam Freeman, a native of Houston. In 28 games, he has 7 holds and a 3.86 ERA.
And an impressive, simply 1 home run allowed in the 18 2/3 innings.
Freeman was a 32nd round pick by the Cardinals in 08, traded to Texas this March. 25 years old, facing Carlos Correa. Correa had the RBI single in the 3rd. He's 1 for 3. Gaddis on deck. Freeman often comes in to face 1 batter. There's strike 1. He worked in each of the last 5 games before the All-Star break, and he faced only 1 batter in 4 of those 5. But now in this situation, coming in to face right-handed hitters Correa and Gaddis, then Rasmus would be due up. It's 1-1, but Jeff Bannister, the manager of the Rangers, probably has been caught in this situation many times this year. Probably stretching some of the short relievers out to face more batters than ideally they would be facing. That's a fly ball to right field. Hamilton coming in for the catch.
Join us for our Legends Luncheon presented by Houston Methodist. That's on Saturday, August 15th. Enjoy lunch with the Astros alumni and coaches, including members of the 2005 Astros, while celebrating the 10th anniversary of the National League Championship. For more information, visit astros.com/Legends Luncheon. or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Evan Gattis has a triple and a single, 2 for 3 tonight. The Rangers starting pitchers have compiled the 5th fewest innings total in the majors, so the pressure's been on that bullpen for the Rangers this year.
And so the Rangers have the poorest bullpen in the league in terms of ERA.
Andrews, 2 outs.
But is it all on those bullpen pitchers, or is a big part of that story on the starting staff?
And that often plays into it in a major way, as you know, Ash. 2 outs quickly for Freeman. Now Rasmus is 0 for 3. Tries to add to the Astros lead. In the 9th inning, the Rangers are scheduled to send up their 9-1-2 batters, Chirinos, DeShields, and Odor. And it would be really important for the Astros to keep it there, because Fielder would bat if anybody reached base. There's strike 1 to Rasmus. Luke Gregerson has been warming up. Freeman deals, and it's a 1-1 count. Freeman went to Kansas University. Last year, the Cardinals pulled him out of the bullpen 44 times, and he was 2-0 with a 2.61 ERA. Rasmus takes, and Colby works the count to 2-1. Austin nothing with 2 hits in the first 4 innings. The Angels nothing with no hits in the first 4 innings. Wade Miley is pitching a beauty so far for the Red Sox against C.J. Wilson. Two balls, 2 strikes to Colby Rasmus with John Singleton on deck. Rangers are 14-14 in 1-run games. The Astros are 12-13. Foul back. Well, Astros fans who came to see the Rangers sweep the Astros earlier this year in early May saw a very good effort on the mound by that Ranger club. In fact, for the 6 games in the season series, the Rangers had an ERA of 2.75 against the Astros. Now a full count to Colby Rasmus. Tonight the Astros have banged out 9 hits. They've scored 3. They'd love to add to this 1-run lead.
We're looking at another one of those really good arms. 96 on that last fastball. When you look at 96, especially as a left-hand hitter against a lefty, and then are able to still handle that 84-mile-an-hour breaking ball, you're doing something right at the plate. Because there's a tendency to just jump and open up when you see that kind of fastball.
In tight, and that's a walk. Rasmus on with 2 outs for Singleton now. It's been Perez, Patton, Kella, and Freeman for the Rangers. Kella with 1 inning in the 7th, allowing no hits, no runs, had a walk and a strikeout. Singleton has a walk and a single, then he struck out in the 6th inning. Cardinals lead the Mets 3-1. They're in the top of the 9th now in St. Louis with Trevor Rosenthal in trying to save it. Johnny Peralta hit his 14th homer. Singleton looks at ball 1. And Chirinos goes out to the mound. There was a doubleheader between the White Sox and Royals. The Royals won the opener. White Sox are leading 2-0 in the 8th in the nightcap.
I think going into the All-Star break, the Royals had played 6 less games than Houston.
Snap throw to first. Rasmus made a few steps towards second base. Yeah, you're right. The Royals are going to be playing a lot of baseball between now and the end of the season.
Like Colby had thoughts of running.
And another throw. John Danks started for the White Sox tonight. And there have been some recent stories indicating that they could be in for a wholesale makeover as an organization, perhaps even including a new manager.
How about that first baseman of the White Sox?
He's pretty good.
Can you land him?
Jose Abreu? Probably not. Singleton came up with the Phillies, and the Astros made that trade, the Hunter Pence deal. He was a part of that, which is high. It's 2-0. Jared Cozart, Josh Stein, and Domingo Santana. That was the package the Astros got in 2011 for Hunter Pence. Singleton had a 10 RBI game at AAA this year, May 13th at Albuquerque for Fresno. 2 balls and a strike. Believe it or not, that was not the Pacific Coast League record. A guy named Pete Schneider set that record 92 years earlier with Vernon, California, with 14 runs batted in a game.
They were playing in a cornfield somewhere.
Must have been. Two now to Singleton. .93 on that fastball for Freeman. Cincinnati 6, Cleveland 1. There in the top of the 9th in the Queen City. Could be a shakeup coming for that Reds club if you believe the stories that are out there. And it would seem to have quite a bit of truth to it when you think about the Reds and their situation in the NL Central. Ash, and the continued dominance of the Cardinals, the resurgence of the Pirates with their good productive farm system, and now the Chicago Cubs seem to be poised to be good for years.
I think they're starting a new young catcher tonight, aren't they?
Yeah, Schwarber. Struck him out looking, and that ends the 8th inning. 3-2 Astros, moving to the 9th. By Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Orkin, pest control down to a science. The Astros employ their 3rd different left fielder of the night, Alex Presley. And Luke Gregerson comes in. He is the closer with 18 saves in 20 attempts.
And he's been pretty darn good in that lockdown role. 34 times he's been out there, 3-1 with the 20 saves, or rather 18 of 20 saves. Do it one more time here this evening.
Pinch hitter Tomas Telis will be the batter now, batting for Robinson Chirinos. Chirinos was 1 for 3. Telis just rejoined the Rangers tonight. He replaced the injured Carlos Corcoran on their roster. He's 24 years old, from Venezuela, had 68 at-bats with the big league club last year. Gregerson throws in at strike 1. He looks down at his footing on the mound and smooths out that landing area. Corcoran, we understand, has a thumb injury. That's what placed him on the disabled list today. Oh, that's a beautiful pitch. 0-2. Corcoran was catching a bullpen. We heard Matt Harrison was throwing it during the workout yesterday, and pain really was intense on that thumb, so he's now on the disabled list. No balls, 2 strikes, and Telis gets his chance. And tries to get something started. Should Fielder bat here, and it would take a runner on base to get to that third spot in the order. Fielder is 5 for 6 lifetime against Gregerson. Struck him out. One down.
Welcome to the big leagues and meet Uncle Splitty.
Stay tuned after the game as the studio crew breaks down all the action from tonight's game, plus interviews from the clubhouse and much more on the Astros postgame show presented by Houston Methodist. Kevin Eschenfelder and Mike Stanton standing by. Delino DeShields is 2 for 4. They're back at the studio because we'll have fireworks after the game here at the ballpark. Ground ball, Correa. 2 outs. Now it's Rougned Odor. Gregerson has an ERA of 0 for his last 8 outings with a 1-0 record, 3 saves, and just 3 base runners allowed. Now this crowd is up, trying to help the Astros snap their 6-game losing streak. Odor has singled over shortstop in the 1st inning and tripled in the 7th. Big Friday night crowd. With Fielder on deck. Strike 1 for Gregerson. Luke is pitching for the 3rd time against the Rangers. He has 2 scoreless innings against them this year. Bounce off his glove to third. Barehanded throw from Gonzalez, not in time. An infield hit for Odor, his 3rd hit of the night, and that gets Fielder to the plate.
What an effort by Marwin Gonzalez, and made it very close at first base. But that's one infield single you hate to see as it brings up Fielder. Now I think Carlos Correa would have had the play.
Gregerson went way up.
Looked to me like Correa was tracking.
15 hits for the Rangers. And now Fielder, he is 2 for 4. Beltre's on deck. Strike. McHugh gave up 11 hits in his 6 innings. Will Harris 1 hit in his inning. Pat Neshek 2 hits and a run in his inning. And now Fielder. Rangers have out hit the Astros now 15-9 tonight. One and one. Odor is 5 for 8 in stolen bases. Balls and a strike. Reds and Mike Leake beat the Indians 6-1 tonight. Leake going to 7-5. He beat Trevor Bauer as 8-6. Thirty-one-year-old Luke Gregerson trying to get this big out to end it tonight. Missing, goes to 3-1 now.
Tough decision, but there's no way you could just cave in and throw a part of the plate strike here on Fielder, even with Adrian Beltre waiting on deck.
And the Astros have the lead after 8 innings. They are 43-1. Fielder hits a little chop. It's foul and may have hit him. But if he was in foul territory, it would still be a foul ball. If he had been in fair territory and the ball had hit him, he would be out. No claim by the Astros if that was the case.
I still don't know what happened on this play. Oh, it's just the ground rejecting, huh?
Some spin took the ball foul. And now 3-2, 2 outs. The runner Odor will take off automatically. The big pitch is coming. Great crowd tonight.
John Singleton is going to play behind the runner now. That'll enable the jump to be even larger. And I don't know.
A shot to short. Correa knocks it down, recovers, and throws it. It's scooped by Singleton for the final out. Correa is down on his back with a smile on his face, and the Astros have won it 3-2 on a bullet by Fielder. Correa was almost like a soccer goalie, doing everything he could just to knock the ball down.
Now, what if this ball gets on through it? Looks like Marisnik is shaded that way, and probably a run doesn't score, but that was an enormous jump at first base, and then quite a play on both ends. John Singleton deserves a lot of credit on this play.
On a night when the Rangers got 15 hits, it was a defensive play, preventing Fielder from getting a hit on that one that ended it. Final score, the Astros 3 and the Rangers 2.